All right. Good morning to you. Welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show. Very glad that you are with us as I'm trying to type in my password to the computer, even as the music ends this morning. How about that? The never-ending news cycle is never ending. Kim St. Ongen here along with me this morning. Ethan Bright. We'll get Sue Thomas along with your traffic before long. What we know at this hour, if you're just waking up, is that last night it was announced there was a ceasefire. And at some point, just a short time ago, a couple hours ago, just as that ceasefire was supposed to take effect, some new missiles flew into Israel. So Iran has denied that they did it. We don't know if it was rogue elements within the Iranian government that fired the missiles. That seems to be up in the air, just like the missiles were. They were destroyed, except for one that got through. 4 people were killed in Israel as a result of those rockets this morning. And now it sounds like the ceasefire's up in the air, Kim. So we thought we had one. Maybe we still do. But right now it's still a question mark.
Yeah, it was very optimistic to think that Iran would actually abide to that ceasefire. I mean, what you're saying is, well, maybe it wasn't actually like an official plan from the government there in Iran to launch that it was something else at play here. I'm sure more will come out today. But if they already violated that ceasefire within 3 hours of it going into effect, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. We'll of course, because it's all happening in real time, we will give you the as it moves along this morning. We'll let you know exactly what we hear as the news breaks. We're monitoring all the channels this morning, including Fox, to see what the headlines are going to tell us. But anyway, it's Tuesday morning. And I was with some friends last night that I hadn't seen in a while. And you know, I get the question I get quite often, Kim. I don't know if you do or not, when you're talking to somebody and they find out what you do for a living. They're like, how in the world do you keep up with all of it? It's happening at breakneck speed right now. Everything is constant. You can't close your eyes for a minute without things changing. So there's a very good chance if you're just waking up right now, things are a little different than they were when you went to bed. That doesn't mean that they're not on the verge of a ceasefire. It sounds like both sides want hostilities to cease. And if that happens, my question on social media last night, I think, continues to be a valid one. What will the liberals do with all of the Iranian flags that they've now got in process of being shipped to their house? What are they going to do with them?
Well, hopefully whatever sketchy website they got them from has a 30-day return policy.
You'll have to hope, just as they were trying to replace the Mexican flag that they replaced for the Ukrainian flag with an Iranian flag. What will they do next? It's pretty funny. Have you seen the meme with the guys walking there with his girlfriend? He turns around, looks at the other girl, and his girlfriend's staring at him. You've seen that meme, and they assign all the different words to it. Now the new girl is Iran, and the boyfriend is the Democrats, and the jealous girlfriend are the illegal immigrants.
Oh, that's so true. They're like, come on, we had all the attention for a few weeks now. Do we have to do more riots to get you talking about us again? Come on.
Kilmar Garcia is very jealous that the Democrats are all now looking at Iran. There's no doubt about that. Well, the big victory for the president yesterday in the Supreme Court. Again, these activist Democrat progressive judges who think they have more power than the president of the United States got slapped down once again. Common sense tells you if you have an active order of deportation against somebody and you're about to deport them, but their home country doesn't want them. Now, imagine that. They sent the worst of the worst up here. They don't want them back. And what the United States did in those situations is strike a deal with a third country that says, we'll take them. We'll put them in our prison. Send them down here. And a judge said, you can't do that. And the Supreme Court smacked him in the face and said, yes, he can. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a legal order of deportation. The point is we're removing these stains on humanity from the United States and putting them somewhere else. You should celebrate that. But that's not what's happened with these courts. And as usual, the three left-wing judges, the three hardcore Kagan, Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown Jackson, were a solid 3 no votes on this, and the other 6 people on the Supreme Court saw the common sense in this policy. So we're going to have some commentary on that just a little later. Kim asked a key question yesterday. What do you do if you're the pilot in a B-2 bomber and you have to fly a 32-hour mission? How do you pee?
I've learned there's foldable cots and toilets and a little mini cooler. But when you look at a B-2 bomber, obviously from our vantage point, it looks so thin. Obviously, it's not as, there's more space in it than I'm probably imagining, but it can't be that spacious. And it's not like, and I kind of joked, it's not like they can say, you know what, I'm feeling a little tired. I see a Holiday Inn Express. Let's go ahead and stay the night. Just park the B-2 bomber right. I see an open spot.
Yeah.
You can't do that. They have to refuel mid-flight. So if there's only 2 pilots and they're taking shifts, what if someone falls ill, or do you get like an hour or 2-hour window to sleep and then you have to switch because you need somebody there as the co-pilot?
We'll answer that question this morning in the next hour, in fact, because Tony Monetti, who is a retired lieutenant colonel and former B-2 stealth pilot, is going to join us. You maybe remember the name. Tony lives in the middle of Missouri. He retired a few years back. He briefly ran for political office. We've had him here in the studio, and Kim and I were talking about this morning, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think I know a B-2 stealth pilot. And in fact, he's even written a book called Stealth. So we're going to talk to Tony in the next hour about what those pilots must have gone through. And he made very clear he's not speaking on behalf of the Air Force. He doesn't represent the Air Force. He's just a retired pilot who happened to fly those B-2s and out of Whiteman, and now he can give us a little perspective into what that mission maybe was like for those pilots. So I think that'll be interesting. We'll get to him at about 6:22 this morning. Todd Piro a little later. It is 2A Tuesday. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Mark Lamping is going to join us next hour as well. Ryan Wiggins a little later in the show. But right now, Ethan, let's get to our top story.
The Marc Cox short list.
If the Iranian regime refuses to give up their nuclear program or engage in talks, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime?
Makes sense to me. Caroline Levitt, you're not allowed to say the politically incorrect words regime change. However, that's exactly what Iran needs if it wants to survive a few years longer.
Iran has tremendous capability if they choose to exercise it in terms of terrorism. They do have assets and sources basically in Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, and so on.
Yeah. John Brennan once again pulling for the enemy. How about that guy? How's he even still around? And is CNN still paying this dude? Seriously.
No president should be allowed to unilaterally march this nation into war with erratic threats, no strategy, no explanation.
What a flaming hypocrite Chuck Schumer is, who let the lie stand that nobody told leading Democrats before this happened, when Chuck Schumer had a phone call with the White House and he tried to call Hakeem Jeffries and he didn't pick his phone up. So they absolutely let them know what was happening. And now suddenly Chuck Schumer, who was all in on Barack Obama bombing the hell out of everyone in spite of the War Powers Act, now thinks it should be enacted against Donald Trump. Imagine that.
Along with Mayor Kara Spencer, Kehoe named businessmen Brad Ortega, Chris Saraceno, Eddie McVeigh, as well as former city personnel director Sonia Jenkins Gray as voting members. Car dealer Don Brown is also on the board as a non-voting member.
All right. So now we have a police board, I guess. I have questions, Kim. Sonia Jenkins Gray. I've heard some of the other names, Saraceno, obviously Don Brown, but even Tashara Jones was trying to fire Sonia Jenkins Gray.
That was the most surprising pick to me of all of them.
Why would Governor Kehoe appoint her to the police board?
I don't know. So
I don't understand
she's
that
trying to sue the city, trying to say it was unlawful termination, I guess claiming that it was okay that she used the city vehicle to, go to Jefferson City or something like that, because that was the whole debacle.
Yes.
Why would you have somebody on the board who is A, in the middle of litigation, and B, who was terminated? And like you said, it was under the Jones administration.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't. Maybe she's an ally of Kara Spencer. Is that possible?
I don't know. But did you see what Alderman Rasheen Aldridge was already complaining about?
No, what did he say?
Lacks diversity. He says the board only has one person of color, and that's just ridiculous. He said this is going to be the good old boys club.
Oh, okay. So that must be a problem.
Yeah, he thinks that Kehoe made several mistakes.
What he wanted is what they already had, which was some sort of a civilian review board filled with anti-police activists who got to decide whether the police did the right thing in certain incidents or whether or not they were going to be reprimanded for it, which is horrible. That's the situation the city police had devolved into. And thank goodness it's back in state control, where you don't have police at the mercy of people who don't understand policing or who want to stop policing, would be the more effective way of stating that. All right. I've run a little long, which is very normal for this segment. So Ethan, what's going on with the national anthem?
We've got Kristen Chenoweth. She did the national anthem at the NBA Finals.
Yes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, good morning to you. We look pretty good out there on the roads, but I will say there was an overnight water main break in Overland. That's near Pasteur and Midland. And you want to avoid that area. They've got it shut off now, but there is equipment on the scene. Other than that, it's been quiet, and we look good throughout the area, and that's both on the Missouri and Illinois sides. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
All right, if you're considering buying some new carpeting, some new hardwood flooring, whatever it is, and you want the absolute best customer service in town, I can't say enough about my friends over at Michael's Flooring Outlet. I've been a customer there for years. They put in 4 different flooring types for me, 2 in my last house, 2 in my current house, and it's just great. I've got carpeting, I've gotten engineered hardwood, which I have now. I've gotten that waterproof flooring that looks like beautiful hardwood, but it's impervious to water. And you can pick all of these things, any or all of them, and they'll bring samples directly to your home at Michael's. And then when you've got the job done, and a lot of companies are sayonara, see you later, thanks for the business, but we don't care what happens now. That's not Michael's Flooring Outlet. They follow up after the sale. They call you. They've even got it right across the middle of their website there at igotfloor.com. Customer service issue, click here. They want to know what's going on and what went wrong. And we had a great experience with them each and every time, all 4 of our installations with the Michael's Flooring Outlet. They work hard to make sure you're happy. That's what Mike Reynolds insists on. He's built 3 great stores, one there in St. Peter's on Main Street. He's out in Darden Prairie and West St. Louis County off of Olive west to 270. Go online today, and if you go in there, tell them Marc Cox told you about it. It's Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
United Way of Greater St. Louis is changing lives. United, we feed, stabilize, and nurture. United, we educate and support. United, we train and employ. And united, we find safety for our neighbors and the resources to stay healthy. Unite with us. Donate, volunteer, get involved at helpingpeople.org.
Get your daily dose of common sense. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
Can you hear me calling out your name? You know that I'm falling and I don't know what to say.
Well, look, first of all, I'm going to be blunt. If Donald Trump thought he could bomb 3 Iranian nuclear sites that were fundamentally important to the regime and not have some response, he profoundly doesn't understand how things work in this region. And he doesn't understand that the Iranian regime, of course, they were going to respond. The question is, in what manner?
Oh, for God's sake. The lefties in this country, Brennan, you know who that is? I know you won't recognize his voice. That is a joker named Ben Rhodes. He was a high-ranking official in the Obama White House. God knows he was probably pulling strings along with Jake Sullivan, who he was friends with in the Biden administration. These are the lefties. Well, clearly, the reason I picked that bite out, just so you know, Kim, is that I was going through and looking for sound bites for Democrats who were blasting Donald Trump for having no idea what he was doing right before they announced the ceasefire. So he's on TV saying this as the news is breaking, because I was watching the TV. I got the alert from Truth Social at about 5:30 last night, I think, where Donald Trump announced the ceasefire. Ben Rhodes said all that just before that on CNN. He clearly doesn't understand the region. So Ben Rhodes did, but Donald Trump doesn't. Ben Rhodes was part of one of the most ineffective foreign policy administrations in the history of the United States, and that was the Obama administration. And for all I know, he contributed to the Biden administration as well. And it's a joke what we heard from him last night. Now, I don't know how this ceasefire thing ends. I was as surprised as anybody when the ceasefire was announced. But think of what we've got here. You've got Iran, who is outgunned, has no control of its airspace right now whatsoever. They do have a few ballistic missiles they can still send skyward that can inflict some damage on countries within a 500-mile radius, 1,000-mile radius of Iran. Certainly not reaching the United States or not intercontinental. And they tried. They sent 14 of them toward our airbase, but they warned us they were coming. And our defenses shot down all of them except one, which they let continue into the ocean because it was going to miss anyway. Okay? We knew they were coming. I wanted to play you the audio this morning of American service members out celebrating what looked like fireworks as the defensive weapons went up and picked these things off as they were coming in. You could see them exploding like fireworks, and the troops were cheering, but they were also dropping F-bombs, which I couldn't play on the radio. Like, freaking yeah, man. Like, you can hear them screaming as these things are blowing up. The point is, Iran is backed into a corner. What they don't want is regime change, right? What the mullahs they did the same thing after Soleimani. Remember, Donald Trump killed Soleimani. They insisted they were going to attack our airbase, but they called us first, just like they did this time, to tell us it was coming so we could make sure nobody got hurt. They do it as a show of force for their own people to remain in power. What they don't want is to not have power over the country. So I'm not surprised at all in hindsight that Iran is now willing to go with the ceasefire. We're not sure what happened this morning. Might have been somebody who went rogue and fired 2 missiles. We will see. We'll monitor that situation throughout the morning. We're back in just a minute with Kim on a whim. Stay tuned.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When I pull up to my house now, it's pretty amazing. I have to say that. The new outdoor lighting project I got from Pro Outdoor looks gorgeous. I think it makes my house stand out in the neighborhood. There's maybe 1 or 2 other homes that have really nice outdoor lighting packages, and the rest of the homes, when the lights go down, are dark unless they've got a few outside porch lights they flip on. My house is well lit. It highlights the architecture of my home, and it's beautiful. Pro Outdoor will do the same thing for you. Just go to their website at prooutdoor.com, click on that residential lighting drop-down menu, and you can see the pictures for yourself. It's gorgeous. They can do that. They can help you with irrigation. They've helped me figure out my irrigation system, or they can install one for you in a day, and then you have a nice green lawn all summer when we get into this hot weather. Go to their website at prooutdoor.com or call 636-695-7800.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell delivers remarks on the economy to the House Financial Services Committee today. In recent days, 2 Fed governors, Christopher Waller and Michelle Bowman, have indicated they would support cutting interest rates at the next meeting in late July if inflation remains in check. Carnival, the cruise company, and FedEx report earnings today. Keith Fitzgerald, principal of the Fitzgerald Group, says following the U.S. attack on Iran's nuclear sites, one of the stocks he is looking to buy is cybersecurity company CrowdStrike.
Poking Iran, rightly or wrongly, it's not my department. But the fact is, they're one of the most sophisticated cyber actors on the planet. I think this is going to unleash an asymmetric form of warfare. If they retaliate, CrowdStrike is a logical protector and benefit from that.
Also today, the Conference Board releases consumer confidence for June. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
Sponsored by AxeCap Ventures. America, listen up. Gold prices are breaking records. With inflation raging and central banks hoarding, every American should own gold. And like President Trump said, whoever holds the gold makes the rules. AxeCap Ventures owns one of Nevada's largest undeveloped gold deposits and trades for pennies on the dollar. This could be your way to ride the gold boom. AxeCap trades under GARLF on the OTC. Visit axecapventures.ca today.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. There was an overnight water main break, and it was pretty severe in the Overland area, Midland, just a little bit west of Woodson. And they've shut it off, but there's equipment on the scene. It may be an area you want to avoid this morning. And plenty of road work has been scheduled, of course, this time of year. And in the county at 6 o'clock this morning till 2 this afternoon, and then they'll reopen it for rush hour and close it again, 5 p.m. to 2 p.m. the following day. There's going to be a lane down along Pershaw Road, and that will be between Hanley and Hazelwood Avenue. There's some ongoing road work over there. This report brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. New Perspective Weldon Spring is redefining senior living. With modern apartments, delicious meals, activities, entertainment, even a state-of-the-art AI fall detection system. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, you know what we do around here? We honor our first responders in many different ways. Sometimes we take them lunch. Sometimes we try to highlight organizations that are helping them out. Right now, my friends at Home Shield Foundation Repairs are ready to help you out if you're a first responder. Through the end of this month, they will give you 20% off any of their polyjacking services. So if you got something going on at your house where the concrete is unlevel, maybe a front porch, your steps. My friend Matt Hayes sent me video showing one listener whose front porch had actually pulled away from the house a little bit because it had started to sink, and that's not acceptable. Things aren't even on the porch, and there's a gap between the porch and the house, and he was able to go in with his polyjacking services and lift that back up to where it was supposed to be. It is considered a permanent fix, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's much cheaper than replacing that whole porch. I can tell you that. Anyway, 20% off all of those services for first responders through the end of June. If you're a firefighter, police officer, EMS worker, reach out today. If you need polyjacking services, Matt can do this for you as well in a basement or a driveway, wherever you need it. He is a foundation specialist who also works on keeping your basement dry. So check them out online. They have videos for what they do at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
The Cards, the Cubs.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health from Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
Locked and loaded. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim.
We were talking about earlier this morning how Governor Mike Kehoe has named his picks for the Board of Police Commissioners here in St. Louis City because the state obviously is going to take over control of the police department, and how Alderman Rasheen Aldridge was upset, saying, this lacks diversity. You don't have enough people of color, because the only person of color that Kehoe picked was
Sonia Jenkins Gray,
the former city employee who was fired, and there was this whole court hearing, and now I think she's suing because she says she was, unlawfully terminated, all of these things. And it just goes to show you that you're never going to be able to please people. You do one thing and they say, well, that's not enough. Or you do something else and they say, well, that's too much, that now it's offensive. Well, there's this story that caught my attention out of Canada, of all places, the places that we joke should become the 51st state here of the United States, which I am opposed to because they are crazy. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. In the city of Vancouver, they're so woke there that they actually went as far as to officially change the name of a street that was previously called Trutch Street. Very simple, Trutch. Very few people would have any difficulty in trying to pronounce that. And there was a specific reason why. It was the first, it was like the BC first, what was it? The BC's first lieutenant governor or something like that.
That was the name.
That was the guy's last name. Well, now, of course, they're saying, well, he was racist.
Did he own slaves?
He says, I don't know if he owns slaves, but he says a lot of the things he does, or did, I guess I should say, they're now considered rude and all of these different things. And we just can't bear to look at Trutch Street anymore. So they, again, took the time, and I assume money, however much that costs, to go and change the street to make sure that it's more inclusive. And it relates to basically an Indian tribe. Listen to them talking about this new street name that was formerly Trutch Street.
The English translation is Musqueam View. The new legal name of the street is written in characters from the North American phonetic alphabet, a system developed by linguists to express words from First Nation languages. Here's Mayor Sim having a go at it.
Today, we officially renamed Trutch Street to Schmuckweem Awesome Street.
Schmuck me and awesome.
Okay, so
Schmucks are awesome street.
This is where radio is hard because you almost have to see the word that they have. So basically what they did was they put the official word in its native language on top. So there is an actual sign that has it. And it's like, I can't even describe it to you guys. It's like an S with like an upside down caret with then an X and then a small W up to the right, then an M, then like an upside down backwards E. I mean, it's symbols and letters that you could never type into your GPS if you were trying to give someone directions, or if you're trying, don't even bother calling 911 and try to tell them where you were or where an accident was, because good luck. We don't even have these characters on our phone. And then they tried to just make it a little bit easier, and they did another sign below it with the Musqueam View, which they're saying is the English translation of that word. But they wanted to make sure that they included both so that they were very inclusive.
Oh my goodness.
Is that
Didn't
not
you
crazy?
just tell me earlier that somebody had assigned these letters to the language? So it wasn't even the original signs assigned to it by the Native Americans. Somebody else had come up with this as a way of expressing.
I just know this was their language or whatever, and this is why it was so meaningful to them, is because they feel like it's really shedding light on this issue of lack of diversity and all of these things.
What Canada needs is a Donald Trump, is what they need. Somebody who has a lick of common sense, who will come in and switch all of this stuff back to what it was before. If your address your entire life was Trutch Street, and some moron came in and made it some unspellable word, you'd be a little bit pissed off, wouldn't you? I'd be put out. What are you doing here? They should at least give them the option of still using both.
That just makes it even more confusing.
Yeah,
the whole
but
thing is ridiculous. This, by the way, does cost money, because now there are several maps and other things that they would have to change moving forward.
But you're canceling somebody's name because you want to apply today's political correctness to something that happened 300 years ago, to somebody's life that existed in a completely different time 300 years ago. That's why they want to tear down the Christopher Columbus statue. That's why they want to, tear down Confederate statues, because they don't understand why anybody in the South would ever have put up a statue to a Confederate general. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not for you to decide why they did that. That was important to them at the time. Teach your children about what happened in that war. The fact that the right side won. We emancipated the slaves. We ended slavery in this country. I know that doesn't always compare directly to Canada, but this is where wokeness takes you.
Mhm.
It takes you to stupid decisions like this that don't mean anything. And all you're doing is trying to cancel history that you disagree with 300 years after the
Right.
fact.
I'm not, in no way am I condoning
Oh, I know,
slavery
I
and
know,
condoning
I
some of
know.
the things that happened back then. But let's just put things into perspective. This guy, Joseph Trutch, who the original street name was named after, he was the lieutenant governor of British Columbia from 1871 to 1876. Times were very different back then.
Sure.
People did things differently. They spoke differently. And things were just more accepted. Again, I'm not saying that makes it right just because they were more accepted back then, but it is, to your point, Mark, so ridiculous that we feel the need to tear down statues. And I will never forget, and I've brought this up before, but it's probably worth repeating. I'll never forget when I went to do the story after they had torn down the Christopher Columbus statue at Tower Grove Park. And I went to go cover the statue, was the King Louis statue at Forest Park. Right there is at Art Hill, I think, the top of Art Hill. And talking to some people, we call it man on the street, where you just kind of go up to random people and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I would ask people, hey, do you support the terror? Because they were calling for that one to be taken down too. Hey, do you support this? Yes. Okay, why? Well, he was racist. Oh, what did he say? What did he do? How do you know he's racist? Well, no one really had a clue why. That was their party line because they'd heard it from somebody else and they were just repeating it. And that's enough to tear down, basically to rewrite history. If the Democrats had their way, many of them, not all, but if many have had their way, they would just rip out pages from our history book because it would be considered too offensive.
Oh, of course.
So therefore, we shouldn't even teach it to kids. We should just rewrite our own history the way that we want it or they think it should have been.
This is in Vancouver, which is not very far north of Seattle. So you can bet that's where a lot of the craziness comes from. If they probably saw them do it in Seattle and now they're trying it in Vancouver. Who knows? Because Seattle is no better than Canada.
Oh, I know.
They're crazy out there.
They're crazy.
Seattle, Portland, all of it.
You should look at like I said, I can't even type it out on our chat because I don't even, the characters don't exist on my keyboard to even do that.
Well, that's because that kind of thinking doesn't exist in most people's minds, except the far left in this country.
Well, we look at Canada and think, wow, you're so ridiculous that you would go through all that trouble to do that, to be inclusive and politically correct. But let's not put it past some of the leaders right here in St. Louis City or some of these other woke communities that would probably do the same in the name of inclusivity.
We don't ever want that as places our 51st state. Although if they ever do that, if like I understand that a couple of the British, just east of British Columbia, there are a couple of areas that have voted to potentially secede from Canada. I don't know. They have to vote to secede first, and then they would have to vote separately, if they wanted to become protected by the United States, somewhere south of Banff and Calgary, which is just north of Glacier. If that ever happens, I'm going up there and buying property because it's going to skyrocket.
Oh, yeah. I don't see that ever happening. You know how many different areas around the world have tried to say, I'm seceding, and it just doesn't happen.
I know. It's gorgeous part of the world.
Oh,
for sure.
Oh, Banff is on my bucket list.
It's up there. I'd love to own some property up there. That'd be great. All right, we'll get to a quick break. This will not surprise anybody, except you may not have heard the news yet. Another major retailer is closing a store at a mall, and we're going to get to that for you coming up here in just a minute. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We still look good on the roads. I mean, really light traffic out there in general. But, of course, there was a water main break this morning in the Overland area on Midland, just a little bit west of Woodson. So if that is part of your commute, there could be some equipment on the scene. They had the water turned off, so that should be a little bit better. If you're traveling on 55, it is in good shape at this hour. No delays on the Illinois side either. So off to a good start, at least on the interstates. Traffic brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com to schedule just a free consultation. They'll come out and look at what you've got and give you an estimate. sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Let's talk about your air conditioner. Boy, it's never been more important than it is right now. Just reached out to Air Comfort Service myself yesterday to help out a friend, and they're going to get out there today and take a look at that air conditioning unit. Here's what they've done for you. They have stocked up on some 2024 equipment before prices started going up, and they've held their prices there. So if you're in need of a new air conditioner, Air Comfort Service is the place to go. They're going to take care of you. aircomfortservice.com /new, and you can find out all the details on what they've got going there. Now, in the meantime, you may need a system check. Maybe you need some new coolant put in your air conditioner. Maybe it's not running very efficiently right now, because when it's 98 outside and you're trying to keep it 20 degrees cooler inside, that's putting a lot of strain on that air conditioning unit. So let Corey and the team at Air Comfort Service get out there and check it out for you. They've got maintenance. They got it for $19 a month. You can be a part of their preferred partner plan. You get your entire HVAC system checked out twice a year, not just the AC in the spring, summer, and the furnace in the fall or winter. They check the whole thing out all the time to make sure it is working perfectly. Get your air conditioner ready for this hot summer we're about to face. Go to Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation's website. It is aircomfortservice.com. That is aircomfortservice.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Marc Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
A man, a myth, America. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Well, I'm gonna pick up some of these empties, Lord, as soon as I find where they lay.
All right. Threw me off there. I was trying to figure out what that song was, Ethan, but thank you for that. You expose me to country music sometimes.
Turnpike Troubadours are doing a cover of Long Hot Summer Day, which I thought was appropriate.
Very fitting. Yeah, well done. So, by the way, that promo we ran there reminded me we need some more nominations for our first responders. So go to 971talk.com/contests and you'll find the nomination form there. You nominate a first responder that you know, paramedic, firefighter, whatever, police officer that you think has done an outstanding job. We pick a winner each month, and then Grill Master Tony provides the food, grillmastertony.com, and then I deliver it. Sometimes he and I deliver it. So just give us your nominations. We pick a winner each month, and we need some more nominations. So please get on there today, 971talk.com and /contest. Go under the contest tab. You can find it right there. Kim, did you see where another major store is about to close its doors, this time at the Galleria?
I did, and I'm not surprised.
These malls are falling apart. Now, they claim they're going to have another major anchor store to replace this, is what they're claiming. But Nordstrom is going to close its doors at the St. Louis Galleria. It's been a major anchor for that Richmond Heights Mall for a long time. They claim they've got a new tenant lined up already, something to do with Dick's Sporting Goods. It's some offshoot of Dick's Sporting Goods, Dick's House of Sport. But don't they already have a Dick's Sporting Good at the Galleria? I know they've got one at the West County Mall.
While.
Yeah, I haven't gone there in a long time either. I'm 25 years ago, it was my little girl's favorite mall to go walk around in, and I just don't find much reason to go there these days. I have gone there, I think, to maybe a Pandora store for a gift one time, but that was about it.
You know what I used to love as a kid was they had that open area and they would fill it with water. And you would throw pennies in, and they don't have that anymore. And instead, they put weird stuff. I've gone there, and they have these weird art installations that are really creepy. And ruined it
in the middle of the Galleria.
Yeah,
huh? I thought maybe they had put up like some bulletproof panels you could hide behind.
That would be actually
shots
better.
Get fired.
Sadly, that's happened.
A spokesperson for the Seattle-based retailer said the store would have its last day of business August 24th. And they've still got their Nordstrom Rack stores in the area, apparently. I've been in there a time or two with my mom to the one over there off Manchester Road for sure.
Yeah, but they have one that's not too far away on the other side, but it's in a nicer area. It's by the Whole Foods.
Okay.
So that does make a difference because a lot of the bad stuff that happens tends to happen at the Galleria.
So there's still a Nordstrom store at the West County Center owned by CBI Properties of Chattanooga. There are Nordstrom Rack stores in Brentwood and Manchester that will stay open. They didn't immediately respond to a question about why they're closing the one at the Galleria. My guess is it would have something to do with foot traffic.
Well, what I read was that a spokesperson said the closure is part of the company's plan to focus more on nearby stores and digital sales.
Oh, well. Again,
that's the party line they're giving, but I know the real reason is probably not that.
A trend away from traditional malls once again. I mean, we still go to the West County Mall on occasion. I'm always surprised when I see them walking through there with gun-sniffing dogs, like the security people walk around with dogs that are supposed to be able to detect gunpowder on people. I don't know the answer to that problem, but I've never seen them stop anybody. But are they just there for presence?
Well, maybe make people feel more secure.
It's possible.
I mean, I would have to guess that the reason the Nordstrom store is closing at the Galleria is sales are down. But then I also think it's probably a safety issue that the Galleria has sadly, as great of a mall as it once was, has sadly been plagued with a lot of issues. People are coming in from different parts of town, and there have been shootings there, multiple shootings there, and it's kind of gone rogue to some degree. I'm not saying you can't go there and ever feel safe.
You're just racist.
But it's definitely
you don't like bullets.
That's it. That is it. It's definitely changed from when I was
Tuesday. You can't say that on 2A Tuesday.
I'll wait till Wednesday to say it. Then I think it's acceptable. But don't you think it's changed from when you were younger?
No,
I mean, I know you didn't grow up here, but
I do.
for a while.
Absolutely, it has changed. And there's a big article in the Post today, which kind of surprised me, to be honest with you, because it's not a letter to the editor. It's from one of their reporters named Jacob Barker. We are in trouble. Like, this is something you've where have you been? Have you been sleeping? You're like Rip Van Winkle. You've been asleep for 20 years, and suddenly you woke up and realized, hey, something's changed. A growing number of civic and business groups are highlighting the metropolitan area's stagnant population as a now urgent problem, and they're pushing the region's planning organization to do something about it. And they're talking specifically about in the city. They want to reverse the demographic headwinds that have plagued the city because the birth rate is so low. And yet when we talk to these developers about downtown, these loft districts over here on Washington, they'll tell you that business is booming, that they're renting them all over the boil. They're renting them to young, single, or couples that are childless, because they're people with families aren't moving into downtown St. Louis.
No.
And there are great neighborhoods, St. Louis Hills and places like that where I'm sure families live, but are they relocating to those areas is the question. And so the population is stagnant and the birth rate is declining. And you're not going to get people to move back into downtown with children. They have nowhere to, they're worried about their safety. All of these things are real concerns, which start with better policing for sure. All right, quick break here. We're going to get to Tony Monetti, former B-2 pilot, coming up.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar. And maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpets sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Both sides violated the ceasefire. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump just said that, adding he's unhappy with Iran and really unhappy with Israel with its vow to retaliate to Iranian missile launches. The president just told reporters moments ago Israel should not drop its bombs. Bring your pilots home.
The Iranian political echelon is denying that they had anything to do with this violation of the ceasefire. But just when the ceasefire was about 4 hours old, the IDF now says it was 2 missiles that flew into the north of Israel, both of them intercepted.
Fox's Mike Tobin and Beersheba were just before the ceasefire went into effect. An Iranian missile hit, killing at least 4 Israelis.
In recent minutes, we have seen the volunteers from Zaka combing through the rubble, trying to gather the remains of people who may be inside of the rubble. The Zaka volunteers are the people with the grim task of putting people back together for a proper Jewish burial.
President Trump also told reporters after Israeli and U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities that Iran will never rebuild that program, fear to be making weapons. Now, that could be a big topic at the NATO summit in the Netherlands. The president is about to fly there.
NATO's leaders will dine with the Dutch king and queen this evening, but Ukraine is looking for scraps from the table. Whereas the Russian invasion dominated previous summits, this year it's much lower down the agenda. President Zelensky gets a meeting with the alliance's Secretary General today. Mark Rutte announced yesterday that European countries had pledged $35 billion to Ukraine's defense this year, up from $20 billion.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage in The Hague. The Supreme Court gives the Trump administration a win in the push to deport more illegal immigrants, lifting a lower court order blocking migrants being sent to countries they're not from.
Attorneys representing migrants from places like Vietnam and Burma challenged those deportations to a third-party country. A source with knowledge of the situation told Fox News the original flight was sent to Djibouti.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. America's listening to Fox News.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. It's a pretty start to this Tuesday morning, but muggy, just straight up hot already at 6:03, 82 degrees our current temperature. At this hour, we are learning more about Governor Mike Kehoe's picks for the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners. Board members include the former St. Louis City Director of Personnel, Sonia Jenkins Gray, owner of Chris's Pancakes, Chris Saraceno, and car dealership owner, Don Brown. Kehoe appointed 5 members there to the board, and then Mayor Kara Spencer serves as the 6th. St. Louis Alderman Rasheed Aldridge criticized the appointments, claiming there's a lack of diversity because Kehoe only selected one person of color. Seniors hoping to take advantage of the property tax freeze here in St. Louis City will have a little bit of extra time to apply. City leaders are extending the deadline to submit an application until the end of July. That is in light of the May deadly tornado. So here's what you need to know, though. The tax freeze only applies to city taxes, not taxes that go to public schools, libraries, and the zoo district. Changes are coming to St. Luke's. The hospital system is closing its De Pere Hospital at the end of August. The hospital network blames the closure on increasing financial pressure and consistently low utilization. St. Luke's closed several clinics, as you might remember, back in January of 2024. That was part of its One St. Luke's Progress Plan. 6:04, 82 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. All right, in sports, a big win for the Cardinals yesterday against the Cubs. They beat them 8-2. Game 2 coming up tonight, Busch Stadium, first pitch 6:45. And then City SC at home playing Orlando City. That game will be tomorrow night. 82 degrees as we come up now on 6:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Pretty quiet out there right now, but Illinois drivers, we've got more closures coming up for you today. In fact, road work and lane closures are scheduled on eastbound 5570 between Exchange Avenue and 203. They will have kicked in at 6 o'clock this morning through 7 o'clock tonight, and crews are going to take traffic down to one lane through there. They've done a lot of this in the last couple of months. But again, if you are headed into Illinois on eastbound 5570 from now until, well, they say, to beat that time. But until 7 o'clock tonight, traffic will be down to one lane. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
While you might not give a hoot about this week's space launch, you sure as sunshine care when your AC goes down. Well, good news, a Jerry Kelly per-producing tune-up is just 98 smackers right this very moment. $98.
JerryKelly.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Another day, more summertime weather, partly sunny, hot and humid, just a slight chance of a pop-up afternoon storm. 95 today. The record is 102 from 1988. We're not going to be close to that. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, 75 for the overnight low. Wednesday, partly sunny, hot and humid, maybe a pop afternoon storm, and 95 once again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
606, 82 degrees if you're just leaving the house. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides.
The bottom line is,
I respect that. We don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice. Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right. Welcome back into the Marc Cox Morning Show, monitoring some comments from President Trump just a few minutes ago as he's getting ready to board Air Force One, I guess. He was leaving the White House, or maybe it was at the airport. And he was commenting on the fact that the ceasefire got broken early this morning by apparently Iran. And there are reports that Israel was about to retaliate. So he said he's not happy with Iran. And he's not happy with Israel, and he's really not happy with the fake news media. He called out CNN specifically, MSNBC. He's not happy with the networks on how they've covered this whole thing because, of course, they got people like Ben Rhodes and Brennan out criticizing what could end up landing Donald Trump the Nobel Peace Prize if it happens. I mean, who knows? The Nobel people are so left that Trump deserved it for the Abraham Accords last time, and they wouldn't give it to him because they hate him so much. But if indeed they do achieve some sort of ceasefire or peace agreement here, whether you can trust the Iranians or not, it would be pretty extraordinary. And I don't know if we're trying to effort those comments from the president. If we can find those and get them turned around, we will get that to you here in the next few minutes because I just want you to hear it. Those tarmac news conferences are never easy because the audio is always bad. And so we'll do our best to get you that when we can. And we're keeping a close eye on it right now. So it's all coming up here in just the next few minutes. Here, Ethan, let me give you this sheet, which has some of our top stories on it. We'll get to that for you. We've got our friend Tony Monetti is going to join us. He is a retired B-2 pilot because I've been fascinated. Kim and I have been talking about what that must have been like for the Missouri men and women who flew that mission. I understand it was mostly men. Pete Hegseth referred to him as the men on that mission, but there was apparently a woman involved as well as the pilot or co-pilot of one of those aircraft or a crew member, one of the two. But we'll talk to Tony Monetti. You may recognize the name. He lives here in Missouri, although he travels to New York quite often these days, and he's written a book about his experience as a stealth pilot. And we're going to get to him with more on that coming up here at about 6:22. So stay tuned for that. Right now, Ethan, let's get to those top stories.
The Marc Cox short list. The president's been extremely clear about America's national objective here. It is to create a world where Iran cannot build a nuclear weapon. We, of course, destroyed the nuclear program that they had, and the president told the entire team, we're going to work to make sure that they don't try to rebuild that nuclear capability in the future.
Yeah, J.D. Vance was on set with Brett Baer just as this ceasefire was announced last night. It was a pretty incredible interview, and the timing couldn't have been better. In fact, Vance said he found out about the ceasefire as he was driving over to the Fox News studios.
I can assure you the administration is actively and closely monitoring the situation in the Strait of Hormuz, and the Iranian regime would be foolish to make that decision.
Yeah, once again, they are keeping an eye on it. You know, the Strait of Hormuz is only about 30 miles wide, which is why it's a real choke point there. But it would not make any sense for Iran's economy for them to shut that down. So we will see what happens.
You want to talk about incompetence? You're the one that said Joe Biden on PBS was competent. You had to retract those words.
Mr.
Don't
Chairman.
talk to me. Don't insult me publicly.
Pam Bondi just reading the riot act to one of the members of the House yesterday who was trying to insult her there when she was giving testimony. She did not take one bit of guff from that lady.
My problem is the Trump administration is taking a victory lap as if they're the only ones who planned this. And
Occasionally the correct answer is just
rolled the dice.
Good job, President Trump. Well done.
Yeah. Scott Jennings on CNN listening to the left saying, well, he's just acting like this was all his idea. And he wants to take complete credit for it. And Jennings is like, sometimes the answer is good job, President Trump. Well done. Like, just stop there. Quit digging yourself a hole, because the left is sort of apoplectic over what's happening. Hell, the right is apoplectic over what's happened here. I've listened to Steve Bannon and Marjorie Taylor Greene and who else? Tucker Carlson, a bunch of people who just went off the rails over this, and I don't get it. I mean, they're talking, Kim, about this big schism in the MAGA party over this issue, and what I see over this issue is consistency on the part of Donald Trump. Donald Trump never said, "I'll never use force." That was never part of the MAGA movement. What it was we're not going to get into endless wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and places like that. And he showed strength. He showed the fact that we would back up what we said. The world is shocked by that, because under Barack Obama and Joe Biden, those things didn't happen. They would prefer to have soft, spineless slugs in the White House. That's why Europe and all the rest of them wanted Kamala Harris to be president of the United States. Step back for a minute. Can you imagine the situation? First of all, we wouldn't have had Israel's back, just like we didn't have during the Biden administration, if Kamala Harris had somehow managed to get elected. And think of what a mess we'd be in right now. She would never have ordered a strike against, because she's not capable of reaching those conclusions, I don't believe. What you saw was decisive leadership. And if it ends up resulting in a ceasefire, which right now appears questionable, then it's going to be a big, big deal. You can't get around that. And all we had to hear last night from the left, they trotted out everybody they could find, just to including John Brennan, who of course hates Donald Trump, hates him, led that effort to sign all those former intelligence officials who, wanted to claim that the laptop could be Russian disinformation. That was John Brennan. Hates Donald Trump. He and Ben Rhodes out yesterday trying to explain away why what Donald Trump did was wrong. Listen to Brennan. Go to cut 13 for the people, please.
The outcomes here, I think, are really quite dangerous in terms of where we go forward, especially since Donald Trump, and it seems as though his minions, his sycophants, are also not going to take into account U.S. intelligence, and they're going to go on Donald Trump's gut. And it's for somebody who has so little understanding of the world events and world history and the Middle East, it is a really dangerous time, I think, for the United States.
Oh, it really is. It really is, John. There's a reason your security clearance was stripped, and you're not allowed anywhere near top secret information anymore. Wow. Anyway, that was the menu on CNN and MSNBC last night, was people like Brennan and Rhodes out criticizing the president for his actions. And when the ceasefire thing happened, they were gap-jawed, slack-jawed. They didn't know what to say after making stupid comments like that just moments before. Hey, can we pull up Fox News here very quickly?
An infuriated defense minister Israel Katz said the following: "I've instructed the IDF to respond forcefully to Iran's violation of the ceasefire with high-intensity strikes of regime targets." So a clear indication that Israel is intending to retaliate today. Now,
all
the
right,
destruction that you
so
see
that's
behind me,
Mike Tobin reporting from Israel this morning, where it sounds as if whatever the ceasefire was brief, because Iran fired missiles. Israel's getting ready to respond. The idea was they were both going to pause, but it's not clear at this moment if that's the case. So we will see. I'm sure the president's on the phone right now on Air Force One working on that. When we come back, we'll talk to Tony Monetti. He's a retired lieutenant colonel and a former B-2 stealth pilot. Stay tuned.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Yeah, we still look good on the roads, at least on the interstates. On the Illinois side, road work and lane closures scheduled today on eastbound 5570 between Exchange and 203. Started at 6 this morning, going through 7 tonight, and crews will take traffic down to just one lane. Now, it's early enough, and it's anti-rush hour, in fact. That's why it's not causing a delay at this hour, but eventually today, I expect it will. Other than that, we look good. We've got really light volume throughout the area, at least right now. This report brought to you by the United States Air Force Band of Mid-America. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Celebrate Independence Day with a free concert by the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America. July 2nd, 7 p.m. at Logan University in Chesterfield, showcasing patriotic music and more. Get free tickets at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
The reviews are in, and they're all great for Rhino Shield. As a satisfied customer, you can hear me talk about it till I'm blue in the face. Until you've seen it or tried it on your own home, maybe you won't know for sure, but I tell you, just go read the Google reviews. They're all up on the website. Go to 877-25rhino.com. You can hear what other customers are saying about it. I've read them to you before. People thrilled with the installation process, the crews, thrilled with the final product and how beautiful it looks, and people saying that it looks better than the house did when it was brand new with Rhino Shield on it. It's beautifully durable. It's 100% waterproof. It protects your unpainted brick, or your painted brick for that matter, your block, your aluminum, steel, hardy cement board. Just about anything you have on the outside of your house can be covered up and sealed with this ceramic shield known as Rhino Shield. Talk to them about it, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They can show you the BASF lab results of why this is such a great product and why they can give you a 25-year transferable warranty, which is just fantastic. I had mounted on my house for 17 years until I sold it, and the warranty transfers to the new owner. So that's great. Call them today. Your evaluations are always free. Tell Darren you heard Marc Cox bragging about it. It's 877-25-RHINO. or online at 877-25rhino.com.
Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Just dial pound 250 on your phone and say the keyword Windows. That's pound 250 keyword Windows, or head to rbastl.com.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Well, you can find out how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You will learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, all of it. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are a handful of openings for the classes this month and next. Just register by calling 314-947-2012. 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number, 314-947-2012.
Helping St. Louis wake up. The Marc Cox Morning Show. The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
All right, we're just getting some sound in from President Trump here. We'll play that for you coming up shortly, maybe at the bottom of the hour, his reaction to the ceasefire or lack thereof with Israel and Iran right now. But right now I want to focus on what happened earlier this week, and that was the B-2 bombers that left from Whiteman and flew all the way to Iran and back, never detected, dropped their I call them bunker busters, but those big bombs on the nuclear facilities and traveled back. We have with us this morning my friend, retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Monetti. He used to be a B-2 pilot, in fact, and of course, you know Tony because I've had him in studio when he ran for office here a few years ago. Tony, how are you?
Hey, good morning. Good to talk with you. Good to be here with you.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have you on again. Yeah, you know, Kim and I were just talking the other day about what this experience must have been for these pilots. You lived a large part of your life as one of those pilots.
Yeah, it was such a privilege and an honor to be one of the very first B-2 pilots. I was there in '94, and we had just a couple airplanes, and we took it from Palmdale, would fly them like a new car scent, and then it's evolved to what it is today, a game changer that has revolutionized aviation history, really. I mean, we're going to look back on this 50, 100 years from now, and this is a very pivotal moment in our history where these aircraft have changed the world, really.
I'm so curious what it's like to be on a flight this long, 36 hours round trip from here to Iran and back. I don't know how long the longest flight was you took. I hear they have like foldable cots and bathrooms. I mean, what is it like if you're trying to, it's not like you can land and park it and stay at a hotel and get some rest.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, but you're right. Yeah, I have flown multiple combat missions from the heartland, 33 plus hours. You basically train the way you fight the way you train. You take off, you air refuel a couple times, then you stealthing up, you focus on the targets, you look at the threats, you release your weapons, and now fight's on because they know you're there.
But what about the bathroom? What about the bathroom
Everyone
situation?
asks about the bathroom, you're right.
Yeah, and the sleeping.
Yeah, we actually went to Walmart and bought these beach chairs and stuck them right behind the ejection seats. I'm not kidding. And then we put a little sleeping bag and a pillow there. My first combat mission, I was afraid the other guy would, fall asleep, so I stayed up the whole time, drinking a lot of Diet Cokes. But yeah, but I did remember after we struck and I refueled a couple more times, I put on the hot water where we can make coffee or tea, and I threw some hot dogs in there, and then I had a celebratory hot dog on the way back. And then when we landed, you go home and no one really knows what the heck just happened because it's secret, and
Sure.
you turn on the news and you actually see what you just did. But I'm very proud of the men and women of the 509th. They're very brave. These are people that love our country. They're not excited about putting bombs on target. I'll be honest with you, because war is hell. Everyone listening, I want you to know the truth, because I'm one of these guys. I've been in multiple wars since Desert Storm. These endless wars have got to stop. And I'm very proud of our president that made a tough call. And it seems like he did the right one, because right now there's a ceasefire. And I do pray for peace while we prepare for war. And God bless the 509th Bomb Wing and the men and women that put their lives on the line to change the world today. So, I'm very proud of them.
Lieutenant Colonel Tony Monetti, retired, with us this morning, a B-2 pilot himself. You've since you've left the service, you've written a book called The Stealth Way. Now, it's not just about the stealth bombers; it's about a way of life. Correct?
Yeah, I basically, since I became one of the very first B-2 guys for 15 years, I've held every job you can think of there. I learned a lot about how stealth operates and how you can integrate it into your own life. And so I've shared experiences of what it's like to be one of the very first pilots and then integrate these stealth techniques like service before self, excellence, character. I equate your low observability, which is what the stealth gives, to your character. And it's something that we have to constantly refine. We have to see ourselves as we truly are and not who we think ourselves to be. So I've shared how to create your own life flight plan while learning about the B-2, the different weapons we have, there's different strengths, there's different weaknesses. And it's something I worked on for 5 years. It was tough running for the U.S. Senate. I didn't know what I was doing, but it came in second out of 13 guys. But the deep state hated me because I was speaking the truth like Trump. And I'll be honest with you, we got a bunch of ladder climbing politicians. We got to clean house, man. We got to stop these guys that just do these endless wars, feed the deep state. Who can't we criticize? And you got to go there. The people you can't criticize are the ones that are trying to stop you from talking the truth. We need to change this lobbying in this country. And I'm very grateful of our president. He's just a great man. God saved him for moments and times like this. That's just me talking the truth and what I believe anyhow. We can't even define what the heck a woman is with the Democratic Party. They've lost it, man. You know what I mean? Let's be real.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree completely. TonyMonetti.com, or you can find the book, certainly The Stealth Way, on Amazon if you just search for The Stealth Way. Tony, great having you on again. Great to catch up with you. Thank you.
My pleasure, Mark. Take care, brother.
You bet. God bless you, and thanks for giving us a few minutes this morning. Tony's a great guy. I remember having him in studio when he was running for the Senate.
By the way, they do have toilets. I Googled it. People are still talking about that on our chat this morning. Anyone who's listening, I am also fascinated. They have legitimate toilets.
And you can cook hot dogs.
And make coffee.
He just said. All right, we're going to be back with John Lamping in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
All right, time to sell the house. Time to call my friend Gloria Lou, 314-325-6888. Listen, I've been through the sales process about a year ago. It'll be a year coming up at the end of July when we listed our house, had it on the market, got it sold with Gloria Lou helping us out. And she is a calming presence. I can tell you that because, of course, you're nervous when you got your house on the market. You want to know what it's going to sell for. Gloria has got a system unlike anybody I know. She's got a list of people looking for homes in your neighborhood, which is why she can make you this guarantee. She will sell your home for 100% of market value or pay you the difference. Find another realtor who's doing that. If you have questions about it, call and ask her about that. She's also got a multiple cash offer program as well. It's peace of mind for you. 314-325-6888 for my friend Gloria Lou, or go online to gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk on this Tuesday morning, starting out at 82 degrees already. Our time is 6:30. Well, the Galleria Mall is losing another business. Nordstrom plans to close its doors for good there at the mall on August 24th. It's been at that location since 2011. A Nordstrom spokesperson says this closure is part of the company's plan to focus more on nearby stores and digital sales. Heads up, a boil water advisory is now in place in Overland as crews are working to repair a water main break. Missouri American Water says the specific affected area, though, there in Overland is between Baltimore Avenue and Midland Boulevard. The boil advisory is expected to last 48 hours. In sports, a big win for the Cardinals against the Cubs yesterday. They won 8-2 was the final score. Game 2 at Busch Stadium tonight, 6:45 first pitch. And then for any soccer fans, City SC at home playing Orlando City. That match will be tomorrow night. I'm Kim St. Ange. Our time now is 6:31. Temperature for just leaving the house, 82 degrees. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Well, we're still actually in pretty good shape on the roads. Every now and then I'll see a little bit of volume along northbound 55, mainly around Bayless, but it's nothing too terrible. And every now and then a little moderate volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. And we've got road work and lane closures on eastbound 5570 between Exchange and 203. And that will last through 7 o'clock tonight. They've got the left lanes down. It's not causing a huge delay at this hour. Right now, it actually looks okay. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
All right. My friends at Golden Oak Lending would like to ask you a question. How much credit card debt do you have? Now, you don't have to answer that out loud if you're sitting with some people, but you know in your head how much it is. And it's not unusual for Americans to have $10,000 or $20,000 worth of credit card debt. If you've got that spread on over several cards or on one card, what's your minimum payment? Is it $500? Is it $300? Every month, that's money going out of your pocket to a credit card company, and you're not even putting a dent in what you owe. Call Golden Oak Lending. If you're a homeowner, you can access the equity in your house. And right now, Golden Oak Lending has lowered its rates to 4.875% fixed. Other lenders are talking about the high interest rates. They are dropping their rates. You can get your loan done in as quickly as 14 days. And the average cash out customer saves $1,100 a month. That's money you're not sending to a credit card company, but you're keeping in your own pocket. So you've eliminated that debt, which is fantastic. You don't face calls from the credit card company, and you've also lowered your overall expenditure by an average of $1,100 a month. At Golden Oak Lending, they're going to be honest with you. You call them at 314-567-GOLD. They're going to tell you how they can help, and they're going to tell you if they can't help. They'll be honest with you, but it's to your advantage to find out now. Now, that's a 5.81% APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity with qualified credit, and additional terms apply. Their NMLS number is 114937. Go to goldenoaklending.com.
The Cards, the Cubs. Siteman Cancer Center game time, 6:45. Play ball! Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer. The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
The Diamond Shop, 20% off all watches, even Movado, 40% off all men's in-stock jewelry, plus 40% off all pearl jewelry and in-stock wedding bands. Continues until June 28th. 10% VIP, extra 10% off purchase. Not valid for watches through the month of June.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Truth, justice, and the American way. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Well, I'll take whatever I want.
Well, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, President Trump dropping the F-bomb on the lawn of the White House today as he was heading off to Marine One there. I'm not sure where he's going. He was eventually making it over to Air Force One, but he's very angry because there were reports that after the two missiles were fired into Israel this morning from Iran that claimed 2 lives, that Iran was about to reciprocate. And he told them not to, said, call your pilots back. And now he dropped the F-bomb on them. So I imagine there are some heated phone conversations going on right now, just on the verge of what was supposed to be a ceasefire. I don't know. Let's get our friend, former Senator John Lamping on here this morning. John, I don't know if you have any comments on these latest developments from overnight. Everybody was pretty shocked last night when this ceasefire was first announced.
Well, it's pretty clear the president wants this ceasefire to take place. He wants this to end in the short run. I think in assessing the U.S.'s involvement so far in this conflict, it's pretty clear the president just wants it to be kind of a one-time thing, that, the way that we hit Soleimani in his first presidency, which was we took him out and then that was the end of that. I think he wants our involvement in this conflict to be limited to the one night's bombing run. Clearly, in my mind, Israel has their own agenda as far as what would happen, and I think they're probably the most reluctant to engage in a ceasefire. But we'll see. I do have to say, the president more and more each day earns his credibility with the working class. It's something like a well-placed F-bomb on live television to get the working class behind him even further still.
Yeah, I wonder what the networks did about that, because I know Fox was carrying it. I watched the multi-view up here on our TV, and I know Fox was carrying it. I don't know if the major networks were carrying it or not when that happened, but he said it and he turned around and stormed off toward the helicopter. So it's interesting to see how the general public is going to react to this.
Yeah, no, he consistently speaks in non-politician type ways, and his use of that language is something that occurs every day on job sites all around the country. And I for one, I support the president in his ability to make these decisions. I like most people don't want to be at war, don't want us to have endless wars, and what I see so far is I see a president trying to deal with a difficult situation, and it's clear he wants this whole thing to be limited to our involvement to be limited to this one action.
John, switching gears here to a more local story, what we've been following is that Kehoe announced his picks for the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners. Have you had a chance to look at the 5 members that he appointed?
Yeah, I did. And in addition to that, I kind of know of the person who's going to chair the whole committee. And it's fine. I don't think that at this stage of the game, you make bad decisions. It is interesting, though, is that, Kehoe ran his platform for solving an issue like crime in the city was to have the police board be taken over by this group, take the control out of local hands. Quite frankly, that's fine, but that's not going to solve crime in the city. And so I think what he set himself up for is somewhat a failure in that, to the extent that crime doesn't improve, or our sense of what is going on in the city, the lawlessness that's going on in the city, if that doesn't get better, then the question is, for him, is, well, what have you done? It's fine that we did what we did, but that's a very tiny step. I've long advocated for, kind of a broken window policy, which is actually enforce the law. I don't think there's anyone that in your listening audience on a drive downtown that has not experienced, somebody going 100, 120 miles an hour coming up on them on a Sunday morning, even, which is when I see it all the time. And there's no one there to pull them over and to arrest them. And so Keogh kind of took this on, and now he owns to some degree the level of lawlessness, and we'll see how that goes for him.
Yeah, I think some of the pics are pretty interesting too. It makes me wonder what the interviews were like with some of these folks. One of the complaints about it this morning is that it wasn't the board isn't diverse enough, because there's only one African American and female who happens to be the same person on the board.
Which, by the way, is the most surprising pick to me, Sonia Jenkins Gray.
Right. Well, most of the people that were picked, you can tell that they're known political people, or they're people that Mike knows professionally. I know there's a car dealer there on one of the groups, and so when these things happen, I know I was still much closer to politics when Jay Nixon had to appoint people for the freeholders board, Mark. That was the
Better Together
coming together.
Yeah.
And most of the picks were politically connected people. It's not like the administration goes out and researches to see who might be best prepared to make these decisions. It tends to be people that are in and around politics.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I turned down my nomination. I said, if nominated, I will not serve. No, just kidding.
He was hounding you for the position. You said, I just can't do it.
He was saying, like,
busy.
Governor, that would be a political lightning rod for you. You don't want to do that. So I noticed they put together a property tax committee in the House. Are you feeling good about that, John?
No, that's the when you want to pretend like you're doing something without really doing something, you organize a committee to consider. And that's essentially, I think, what they're doing. What we learned this past session, and we learned particularly in the special session, is that the legislature is so dramatically controlled by the lobbying interest that it's really only the governor that can push true reform legislation through, our not even reform legislation, horrible legislation like the Ameren bill to raise our utility rates, or the stadium bill, because it's only then, when the governor has the leverage that he has with the lobbyists and then the legislature, that something can actually get done. And so until you hear the governor come out and say that I want to, reform and or eliminate property taxes, the rest of it's just noise. And it's just something to make it sound as if they might do something, but it really, the power of the executive branch in the state is pronounced. And until, so basically we're going to do whatever the state's going to do, whatever the governor wants the state to do.
Well, I hope Governor Kehoe will get on board with that at some point. John Lamping, thank you as always, my friend.
Oh, nice being with you too. Take care.
We'll talk to you again shortly. We I'll love getting John on here, getting his perspective on all this. Yeah, lots of reaction online this morning, and of course, as we're watching it up here on the screen, to the president's comments just a little bit earlier, which we had to. It took us a second to turn those around because we had to bleep them for broadcast radio. Fox could carry that with no problem since it's a cable network. But for the broadcast side of things, you remember these 7 dirty words. The president just used one of them, apparently on live TV. I don't know who all was carrying it is my question. If CBS and ABC and NBC cut away to that from their morning shows, then they all got a little flabbergasted, I'm sure, after that happened.
Is that the first time that we've heard Trump really use that type of, I mean, I'm sure he uses that language, but in that type of situation, I don't remember him speaking like that.
That I can remember. It's the first time in a long time anyway that I've heard him say that for sure. Is that the same soundbite we've got in? Let's play it one more time, if you don't mind, Ethan. I want to make sure I'm playing the right one.
Well, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
And then he turned around and stormed off. The bleep was the F-bomb that the president dropped just a short time ago. All right, keeping an eye on that one. We are going to get to In Other News coming up. Todd Piro on the other side of the break. We'll get his reaction to what the president said at about 7:20. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
I can't get enough of your love. I can't get enough of your love.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we just had a report of a vehicle fire eastbound 364 west of 141. I'm looking here at the cameras to try to find that. I'm not seeing it yet, but I'm sure they'll turn it around and maybe we can find it. But in the meantime, things are moving fine through there. In fact, we've got light volume in general at this hour. There's a little bit of moderate volume southbound 61 headed for the 70 split, and northbound 270 a little bit slow, especially at Doherty Ferry, and northbound 55 some moderate volume at Bayless, but that's about it. Not as bad as it could be. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out, from windows and siding to kitchens, bathrooms, and outdoor spaces. They deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, my friends at Overhead Door would love to help you out with that clunker of a garage door you have. It's not something you think about. We raise them, we lower them. They protect us from the rain and the snow and maybe the heat if you've got an insulated door. But at the end of the day, garage doors wear out, just like everything else on your house. If you've been thinking about a new one, I hope you'll consider Overhead Door Company. Their Cash for Clunkers program is going on right now, where they will give you cash credit toward a brand new garage door for up to 3 doors. They'll disassemble them and take the old ones away and install the new ones for you, and it just changes the entire look and curb appeal of your home. It's beautiful what they do at Overhead Door. Also, if your door quits working, as mine did not all that long ago, the spring broke. That's the second time that's happened to me on the houses I've owned over the years, and good luck doing it yourself. You need an expert like Overhead Door Company. They won't leave you stuck. They do same-day emergency service. Here's the phone number you're going to need, 314-781-5200. That's 314-781-5200, or you can schedule online right now at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
End up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, we fight for you, making sure big insurance doesn't throw you a curveball. With over $25 billion recovered, we're the home run hitters you need.
This is way out there and gone.
Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
The Mark Reardon Show.
William Dunn. My hat's off to those Air Force bubbas. We'll never tell it to them in a bar or to their face, but I'll say it on air because I'm not looking at them. Phenomenal job. They did a great job and a great service for our country.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6. It's only scary because it's true. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
All right, here's a question that I have to ask myself this morning. How did I not know that they might have an alien orb in Mexico City? Did you know this?
No.
So Daily Mail is reporting this. Men disguised as police attempt to steal a sphere-shaped UFO. After new information is revealed. So in Mexico City, they have this silver-looking orb that they've recovered. It was spotted in March over a town in Colombia, zigzagging its way through the sky, and it was recovered after it landed, and it's been taken to Mexico to be analyzed by scientists who discovered a maze of fiber optic wires inside of it that suggest it can send and receive signals, and UFO researchers are all over this.
Probably some kid who made it for like a 7th grade science project.
I don't know, but they're taking it seriously.
Balloon.
Yeah.
Listen to this dude. Hold on, listen.
We've just been notified by Jaime Mason that there was an attempt by fake policemen to enter the vault where the Lugosphere is stored. And we have notified security in the apparatus I'm working with under law enforcement. And you should know that the other risk here is that we have taken specific samples from the Lugosphere that will be tested in a state-of-the-art lab to prove whether or not the metal, as well as some of the other components, are of Earth or outer space origin.
How about that, Sue Thomas?
Hey, Scotty, are you listening? Your 7th grade science project, they have it for you. Just go pick it up.
Thank you, Kim. And that's where you take anything you really want to research is Mexico.
Well, that's where they found it.
Well, that's where you really want to dig into stuff.
That guy was speaking really good English for being in Mexico.
He's a ufologist. Leave him alone.
Yeah, sure. Hey, have you guys seen this crazy video out of Cape Girardeau? We've been talking about how hot it is, this heat wave that's really impacting much of the United States, but it's so hot here in Missouri.
How hot is it?
Thank you. I was hoping that someone would say that. A road buckled and sent a car flying. I mean, you'd see video of this car going midair, airborne, because it's like a yard away from this spot on the road, and all of a sudden it just whoop, buckles right up, pops right up.
I did see it, and all I could think about was the amount of repair damage the guy was going to have at the front end of his car.
Yeah.
There's no way he could have stopped because of the speed that he was going.
At least there's video proof of hey, I wasn't just driving crazy. Truly, the road buckled.
So get this. This is like a miracle kind of stuff. 5 years ago, after a 4th of July fireworks accident blinded him, a young man has regained his eyesight in a revolutionary transplant using stem cells. So the guy was injured in California when a stray firework exploded and sent shrapnel into his eye, and it damaged his cornea. And now some new stem cell treatment has given him part of his vision back. They took the cells from his healthy eye, and it restored partial vision to his injured eye. Now, it's not perfect yet, but he can make out shapes and all that stuff. And before, he was completely blind in that eye. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool. I would not want to be part of that surgery.
No.
But that is
But
really
he got
cool.
to lose, though.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's true. Hey, this is just crazy to me. So I guess companies are just looking for any way to get people in the door to get more business. So Jimmy John's has decided that it's going to be releasing or partnering, I guess, with this audio book So they're going to have it narrated by one of the White Lotus stars. Walton, is it I have no idea how.
Yeah, Walter Goggins.
Goggins. Okay, I've
Goggins,
never
huh?
heard of him, to be honest.
Oh, you've
Really?
seen him. I guarantee
I've
you.
watched like
seen
the
him.
first season of that. I don't know if he's in that, but
He's in everything.
everything. Okay. So anyway, he's narrating this. So basically what Jimmy John's is doing is they're saying that if you're a Freaky Fast Rewards member who purchases a sandwich or a wrap between June 23rd, which was yesterday, and July 6th, you'll basically get this audiobook sent to your email address that's associated with your rewards membership. But that's the only way that I guess you can get it. This whole thing is so odd to me that you go buy a sandwich and you also get an audiobook in exchange.
Okay. I knew him from Justified. I knew that the actor from
That's
that, but
where
he's
I
in like
know.
every commercial now.
So good.
The
that you
Righteous
see.
Gemstones.
I'll have to Google him.
Exactly. All right. So a Texas man found out something interesting this week. He found out he was married even though he didn't attend his own wedding.
How's that happen?
I'm not sure. They've arrested his ex-girlfriend and hit her with felony stalking charges. He returned home June 13th to find a Bath and Body Works gift bag. It also contained a certified and embossed copy of his marriage license, which had been filed with the county clerk's office, and a photo of his ex-girlfriend, 46-year-old Kristen Marie Spearman, holding a marriage certificate showing that they had been married.
So she just
Congrats,
forged
maybe
one.
call your
There you
wife.
go, Sue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she forged it.
That's funny.
That's
It's
a
called
bad
desperation.
surprise. Yeah, back with Todd Piro coming up.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's more than a game. It's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer for Cardinals Nation. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands, because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody. It's our favorite song.
This is former Cardinal and Navy Lieutenant Mitch Harris. Salute those who serve. Join the Cardinals on Friday, July 11th for Military Appreciation Night, presented by Boeing. With a special themed ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Cardinals 40-ounce tumbler, honoring all 6 military branches. Arrive early for a powerful pregame concert by the U.S. Air Force Band on the Budweiser stage. And best of all, a portion of each ticket benefits USO Missouri. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/think. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
President Trump is unhappy with Iran and Israel.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, saying both sides violated the ceasefire agreement.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.
The president telling reporters outside the White House before he took off for the NATO summit he's not happy that Iran fired missiles, and
I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it.
He called Israel's prime minister from Air Force One, then posted on Truth Social a short time ago, Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home, adding the ceasefire is in effect. Now, before the president got involved again, this is what happened.
Israel says it was actually 2 rockets. An infuriated defense minister, Yisrael Katz, said the following: I've instructed the IDF to respond forcefully to Iran's violation of the ceasefire with high-intensity strikes of regime targets.
Now, Fox's Mike Tobin is in Beersheba, where an Iranian missile attack before the ceasefire took effect killed at least 4 Israelis. Back to the president. Days after the U.S. airstrikes he ordered hit 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, he also told reporters,
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished.
Likely referencing the Fordo site key to uranium enrichment in a program feared to be building weapons. That's expected to be a topic, along with Ukraine, at the gathering with other NATO leaders.
It's the first NATO summit of his second term, so he's going to arrive there tonight. That's really going to get going tomorrow. There is some positive news here on the defense spending side, because one of President Trump's goals going to The Hague was convincing allies to increase their defense spending to 5%, to make this a pledge among allies. And what we're hearing right now, that it appears that those member countries will be doing so, all of those members aside from Spain.
That's Fox's Alexandria Hoff at the White House. America's listening to Fox News.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce!
It's Spruce, the new hardworking, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AB.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. 7:03 our time right now, 82 degrees already, and it just feels straight up muggy outside. At this hour, we're learning more about Governor Mike Kehoe's picks for the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners. Board members include former St. Louis City Director of Personnel Sonia Jenkins Gray, owner of Chris's Pancakes, Chris Saraceno, and car dealership owner Don Brown. Kehoe appointed 5 members to the board, and then Mayor Kara Spencer serves as the 6th. St. Louis Alderman Rasheen Aldridge criticized the appointments, claiming there's a lack of diversity because Kehoe only selected 1 person of color. Seniors hoping to take advantage of the property tax freeze here in St. Louis City will have a little bit of extra time to apply. City leaders are extending the deadline to submit an application until the end of July. That's in light of the May deadly tornado. The tax freeze, you should know, though, only applies to city taxes. So taxes that go to, say, public schools, libraries, zoo district, those are not included. Heads up, changes coming to St. Luke's. The hospital system announced it's closing its De Pere Hospital at the end of August. The hospital network blames the closure on increasing financial pressure and consistently low utilization. St. Luke's closed several clinics, as you might remember, back in January of 2024. That was part of its One St. Luke's Progress Plan. 7:04, 82 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, hey, a big win for the Cardinals yesterday against the Cubs. They beat them 8-2. Game 2, Busch Stadium tonight, 6:45 our first pitch. And then heads up for any soccer fans, City SC at home playing Orlando City. That match will be tomorrow night. 82 degrees now as we approach 7:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, you know, we had that vehicle fire reported eastbound 364 approaching 141, and I can't see the actual fire. but I can see the jam behind it, and it goes back to the bridge. So if you are eastbound on 364, usually it's a dream come true, easy drive. Well, it's jammed at 141 right now. Also, northbound 270, a little bit slow, mainly Big Bend on up through Manchester. 55 is in good shape, but on the Illinois side, we've got that road work, and this is eastbound 5570 between Exchange and 203. It's supposed to run till about 7 o'clock tonight. They've got the left lanes blocked, and there's already a jam in that area. This report is brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Another day, more summertime weather, partly sunny, hot, and humid. Just a slight chance of a pop-up afternoon storm. 95 today. The record is 102 from 1988. We're not going to be close to that. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm, and humid, 75 for the overnight low. Wednesday, partly sunny, hot, and humid, maybe a pop afternoon storm, and 95 once again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our time is 7:06 right now, 82 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show at 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere. Just download the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I respect that we don't agree. Listen to both sides.
This,
let's get it on,
is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show. This quote from the president this morning: "I need to get Israel to calm down." He said he was going to make that phone call when he got to his airplane. So my guess is that has already happened at this point. Welcome in here alongside Kim St. Ange and Ethan Bright this morning, and Sue Thomas with your traffic here in just a couple of minutes. Keeping an eye on the news because the president made a few headlines this morning after it appeared that the ceasefire had kind of fallen apart. He announced it yesterday, but this morning there was evidence that both sides had continued to fire, or at least Iran fired, and then maybe Israel fired back. 4 people died in Israel because of the rockets that came in early this morning from Iran. Iran denied that they sent them, so we don't know if it was some rogue element of the Iranian military that did it or if they're just lying because they're Iran. You don't know. Here's what the president said a short time ago.
Sure, they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay?
Yeah. So the president was headed off to Marine One, and you could hear it running in the background. That's always the most difficult part of the reporters. You're yelling questions to somebody with the sound of a helicopter warming up in the background.
Isn't it so weird, though, to think that our president right now actually will take questions? You think about how many times Biden would just get on Air Force One or what, and
clueless.
Clueless and just no questions and ignoring any questions. It's just crazy. It's such a difference.
A huge difference. And one that I heard, it may have been Kilmeade. Somebody pointed this out yesterday, that regardless of what these reporters think of Donald Trump, that cover him, even the ones when he looks them in the face and tells them they're fake news, they have to appreciate the fact that he's made their jobs so much easier. Mm-hmm. All of them, because he answers questions.
And he also provides them with nonstop content because everything he says ends up being a headline.
You might not like what he says, but he gives you answers every single day, just about, he's in front of the media somewhere. And right now, apparently he's on his way to the Netherlands, to some meeting in the Netherlands. But he's probably burning up the phones, if I had to imagine. Dropped the F-bomb on the way to the helicopter a bit earlier, which I think we're going to get to in our top stories, Ethan, please.
The Marc Cox short list.
Well, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, they don't know what the blank they're doing, and he was very mad because he thought he had this situation dealt with, and he can't just look at Israel and Iran and say, "You're fired."
If the Iranian regime refuses to give up their nuclear program or engage in talks, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime?
Caroline Levitt is absolutely right. What's wrong with saying that? You don't have to. You can encourage regime change. We needed regime change in the Gaza Strip, but we didn't get it. But if the people of Iran can rise up, why would we not want that to happen?
The president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program.
Yeah, the vice president was on with Brett Baer just as the ceasefire was announced, complaining, as he should, that not enough people are willing to just stop the criticism for a moment and give this president a little bit of credit.
The only thing I have to share tonight, Sean, in a little bit of breaking news, is that the district court judge in Boston has said he's going to defy the Supreme Court's ruling. So expect fireworks tomorrow when we hold this judge accountable for refusing to obey the Supreme Court.
Yeah, Stephen Miller with a little bit of breaking news last night, and I don't know exactly when this will happen, but the Supreme Court basically ruled that the United States, ICE, can take illegal aliens who've been ordered deported and send them to a country other than that from whence they came. So if it's an El Salvadorian and El Salvador doesn't want them back, the U.S. might send them somewhere else, Sudan or whoever else has agreed to take some of these criminal illegal aliens, I would assume for a cost. I don't know what that is. The district judge had ruled against the Trump administration. The Supreme Court last night just gave them a massive smackdown.
This is an incredible victory the Supreme Court win. It allows President Trump, as the law has long said, but the courts have blocked, it allows President Trump to send illegal aliens convicted of rape, murder, homicide, assault, battery, crimes against children to any country around the world that is willing to accept them. So whether that be South Sudan or whether it be Somalia or whether it be Ethiopia, any country in the world that is willing to accept these monsters, we can get them out of our country and be free of them forever.
Yeah. You know who the dissenters were? Can you just guess? Could the names possibly have been Jackson or Kagan or Sotomayor? Yes, absolutely. All three. You know what they're upset about? It might violate the due process rights of these aliens. These are the members of the United States Supreme Court who have supposedly law degrees, who do they not understand the basic concept that once an immigration judge has ordered a deportation order, that is the due process. None of these folks are being snatched off the street and thrown onto an airplane if they haven't been given a deportation order. Most of them are convicted criminals who were hidden by these sanctuary cities from being deported over the last couple of years. And now they're grabbing them and saying, hey, well, if your own country doesn't want you back because you're that much of a scumbag, guess what? We'll send you to Sudan and see how you like the environment over there in the prisons. And the lefties can't stand that. Oh, you're violating their due process. They're illegal criminal aliens. They're not taking people who just stumbled across the border and didn't do anything wrong and sending them to Sudan. They're sending the hardened criminals to Sudan because guess what? Their own country thought they got rid of them to begin with. They certainly don't want them back. What else are we supposed to do with them? I think it's a fair question. Anyway, a big win in the Supreme Court yesterday, and hopefully the president will have a couple more of those this week. The big one would come whenever they release their opinions again, probably Thursday and Friday, and that's the question of whether or not these justices can just throw injunctions on everything. Every complaint they have, these progressive judges are trying to stop the president from carrying out his administrative duties in Washington, D.C. So that did happen yesterday. We'll get to a quick break and get to Todd Piro and find out what it's like to be a network news anchor, watching the news on your network and hearing the president drop an F-bomb. I don't know if they got it bleeped fast enough or not. They didn't in the version of it that I heard. So we'll get to Todd when we come back in just a minute.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk.
Picking up barges on a long hot summer day.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we do have some volume out there this morning along northbound 270. In fact, it looks like it's lined up. It's mainly from 44 up through Manchester, and then things look a little bit better. There's some moderate volume to the south of there, too, kind of at 21. And we also had an earlier vehicle fire on eastbound 364 approaching 141. It was in the right lane. And traffic is still kind of unwinding from that. Eastbound 70 looks great out west into downtown. There's a jam eastbound 5570 on the Illinois side, headed into the work zone between Exchange and 203, and some moderate volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. If you have wondered if you've saved enough money to retire, and you want to know how to make the money you do have go a lot further, try this class. I just think it makes sense to understand how things work. And that's kind of what this class does. It's just one night. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. And it's a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. And they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. But you learn things you need to know. Here's how to reduce taxes. Here's how to maximize Social Security. It's just so you feel like you've got a handle on how things work. And it's free, but they want you to bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. You do have to register, so call 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012, and I think you'll feel better about how retirement works.
Trucking accidents can change your life in an instant. The injuries, the bills, the stress. It's overwhelming. That's why you need a legal team that understands what you're going through and knows how to fight for what you deserve. At Kaufman Townsley, we've helped real people in St. Louis get real results after serious truck crashes. We know the roads, we know the law, and we know how to win. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything, online to hybrid courses, lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Classes start soon. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. 100-mile-per-hour discussion starters, even in heavy traffic. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, time to get to one of our favorite friends, and that is the host of Fox and Friends First, Mr. Todd Piro, who is apparently losing his voice.
Here's the deal. From what I'm told, you guys have baseball in St. Louis?
We there's a rumor of that, yes.
What's baseball?
Okay. So it's a sport where, you have a bullpen and you need to manage your bullpen.
Yeah.
And your starters are oftentimes on pitch counts.
Okay.
I'm on a word count.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, pitchers don't want to throw out their arms. I'm trying to preserve my voice. I did a good job yesterday, and I made it through the show today fine. So, and I'm going to be talking in a monotone tone, not my normal Jersey style yelling that the people of St. Louis have grown accustomed to.
That's good. We did get the warning from your medical staff yesterday that you would be on limited duty today.
the full medical staff that I keep around me at all times.
Oh my gosh. Chad, I had to get your reaction to this that happened earlier because I know Fox was carrying it live when the president dropped the F-bomb earlier.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah. I'm wondering what they were doing over on the broadcast networks when that happened.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't sound happy. But can I level with you completely?
Please.
You just broke that news to me.
Wow. Okay.
I was in a nap because again, we have to manage our lives, and I've been up so much overnight in trying to do my job that once they cleared me from any hits for Fox and Friends, I took a nap because I have a very busy afternoon and my child is sick. So
I'm sorry.
You figure out ways when you're a parent to and if they don't need me, my next time on air looks like it's going to be tomorrow at 4:00. So took my nap now, and I'll learn the news because it'll change between now and the time I need to prep for the next show. So you understand how that works. You got to make a business decision. So you're the first person telling me that, but yeah, I'm sure I'd be ticked too if it led to this.
Yeah, he thought he had a deal. I was sitting there last night having a cocktail, watching the news, and all of a sudden the thing pops up that from Truth Social that Trump had managed to get to land a ceasefire, and I'm like, well, I'll believe this when I see it because it said they're each going to fire one more volley and then they're going to stop. Except they didn't.
Weird to me. Yeah, I had a whole line of questioning about that.
Yeah,
like, is this how we do it? Like everybody gets their ones that are in the air, or the guy's already been called into work, so he heard I want to get my missiles off. I was already called in. I left my kids for this. Okay, fine, shoot the missiles. But then obviously that all changed about an hour before our show, and it's like, oh, ceasefire off.
I'm not surprised. I didn't trust Iran of all countries would be the one to stick to a ceasefire. But then I know a lot of people are slamming Israel for that. And part of me, I can't really blame Israel for wanting to retaliate if Iran's not sticking to the ceasefire and they broke it within a matter of hours of it going into effect. I mean, did they just take the bombs or do they retaliate?
Exactly. There's a phrase that I learned during my I had a big career doing ballroom dance before this.
Wow.
And the line is, it takes two to tango. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. But yeah, I mean, why would Israel be like, okay, you guys can still hit us as part of the ceasefire. You can hit us for an hour more, a day more, a week more, a month more in perpetuity. But yeah, we're still in a ceasefire. No, that makes no sense. By that logic, Israel has, they've been in a ceasefire for 49 years. It just, every now and again, Iran wants to get something off their chest. That's not how a ceasefire works. And so I think it underscores, to your point, we cannot trust these people. So I do not know what it will take.
Well, Lord knows what you'll be reporting on tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. But I think we've reached your pitch count, Todd.
You're calling in the bullpen? Huh?
We are. We're going to call in the bullpen and let you rest your voice, my friend. Hope you feel better.
It. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Have a great week.
Yep. We'll see you later. There he is, going to bat, even though he's under the weather.
So he says he has a word count, like a threshold he has to stay below to try to maintain his voice for actual Fox and Friends First,
right,
which is, of course, where he gets his paycheck. what would that even, I mean, how would we even do that? You know
I
how
don't
much
know.
I taught, my husband will tell you the same thing. He's like, you know how much you talk throughout the day? And I heard that growing up too. I used to want to be an attorney growing up. Parents always said I was a great arguer, arguing my case. My husband would probably tell you the same thing.
Good.
But yeah, that'd be actually punishment for me to tell me I had to sit there and be really quiet for a very long time.
I had this conversation with my daughter the other day because I was joking with her about talking a lot, and she said, "Dad, you talk for a living. You can't say anything to me." I'm like, well,
It's true.
you're probably actually one on that point. That's for sure. I don't know, but we hope Todd feels better. They did tell us in advance, try to keep him to 5 minutes or less so we can rest his voice. It's you've heard me in here sounding like a frog before. That's been a while, but it's miserable when you're expected to be on the TV or the radio for 4 hours, and at some point you just have to give somebody the day off because it's hard on them and it's hard on your ears to listen to it.
I can rally. Like if I'm on no sleep or not feeling great, you just go and power through something. But when your voice is out, there's really not much you can do.
Very true. By the way, we were talking to him about this ceasefire. We had Tony Monetti on earlier. If you missed that interview, I think we've already got it up on the podcast.
Yep.
Posted. Go listen to it. He's a retired lieutenant colonel. He's a great guy. He was a B-2 stealth pilot, one of the first ones when they only had like 2 of these planes. And of course, it's expanded dramatically since then. And he was describing in detail what it's like to be on a 33. He said he was on a 33-hour bombing run one time in one of these jets, and hearing him describe that, he, by the way, fully in support of what President Trump did, thinks he's a great leader, also doesn't want an extended foreign war somewhere. But it's great to hear Tony's perspective on what that must have been like for the men and women who were members of the crews who just completed that awesome attack.
No, it's incredible.
Deceptive.
What they were able to accomplish in 36 hours round trip overnight, trying to stay awake. And can you imagine how alert you have to be? Like, think about all of our jobs, and sure, we need to be alert, but not nearly as alert as you need to be flying a B-2 bomber plane over an enemy territory and expected to, with absolute precision, drop multiple bombs and then get the heck out of Dodge and hope that you're not caught and fired back on.
Yeah, because he said the minute you open the bomb doors, you're not stealth anymore, because when the bomb hits, they know you're up there, then they start looking for you. So that's when the evasive part of it takes place.
Why do you think Iran they just didn't have time to send planes back up?
Well, they're stealth for a reason. They're really hard to see. They didn't know which direction they were going, probably. So maybe that's why, or maybe their air defenses are so depleted they didn't really have anything to shoot at them. I don't know. All right, coming up, we're going to get to 2A Tuesday, some big court ruling dealing with the Second Amendment. We're going to get to that for you. Also, Kim on a Whim about 7:45. Stay tuned.
Hey, Zero Res wants to help you clean your home or business. Big summer savings with 3 rooms cleaned starting at $129 and $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSCL.com and ask for the Mark Reardon or 97.1 FM Talk special.
All right, time to get your roof replaced. I just got mine replaced, and boy, does it look good. I feel really good about it, too. I talked to my friend Curtis Correll of Correll Roofing before we put this on. I'm like, what do we have to do here to make sure I don't have to do this every few years? And he goes, well, I've got a shingle that is basically bulletproof. If that's the one you choose to go with, it can take a beating. And I chose to do that because of the changes that are coming in the insurance industry. The days of a set deductible are over, and when your policy renews, it's going to be a percentage of the value of your home. So if you can get your roof replaced this year, you're in better shape. And call Curtis at Correll Roofing, 314-222-9529, 222-9529. That's his cell phone. Get you directly to him. You can trust him. He's going to tell you if you need a new roof or if you don't. He'll be honest with you, and he's going to put quality materials on your roof for sure, because he's got crews working with him with over 20 years of experience. They did a great job on my roof, and you can trust him to do a great job on your roof. 314-222-9529 or on Facebook at Correll Roofing Co.
Are your windows drafty, outdated, or hard to open? Choose Infinity from Marvin Windows. Crafted from durable fiberglass for superior energy efficiency, beauty, and performance. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we specialize in custom-fit professional window installations that transform your home. Plus, with our lifetime workmanship warranty, you'll have peace of mind for years to come. Call Lakeside today or visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free window consultation. Replace with confidence. Choose Infinity from Marvin.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. A pretty start, but very hot start to this Tuesday. 82 degrees already at 7:30. Well, the Galleria Mall is losing another business. Nordstrom plans to close its doors for good at the mall coming up on August 24th. It's been there at that location since 2011. A Nordstrom spokesperson says the closure is part of the company's plan to focus more on nearby stores and digital sales. Heads up, a boil water advisory is now in place in Overland as crews in that area work to repair a water main break. Missouri American Water says that the affected area is specifically between Baltimore Avenue and Midland Boulevard. The boil advisory is expected to last in Overland for 48 hours. In sports, hey, a big win for the Cardinals yesterday against the Cubs. They beat them 8-2. Game 2 coming up tonight at Busch Stadium. First pitch is 6:45. And then for any soccer fans, another match coming up tomorrow. So City SC will be at home playing Orlando City. I'm Kim St. Ange. Our time now is 7:31, 82 degrees. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We've got plenty of volume out there on northbound 270 this morning, and it's an accident that's reported really close to Doherty Ferry that is to blame. So if that is part of your commute this morning, just expect that slow go. And it's in the left lane, so that doesn't help. We also had an accident reported up north, eastbound 270 at West Florissant, a small black SUV that ran into the median. So there is some slow-moving traffic there as well. Now, northbound 55, just the usual volume north of Rivas Barracks, headed into the construction zone there. We've got eastbound 70, some moderate volume headed for 141. 64, some moderate volume just east of Wing Haven and again at Big Bend. On the Illinois side, road work and lane closures eastbound 5570 from Exchange to 203. That's caused a delay. And the usual volume westbound, so some just moderate volume between the 64-70 split and across the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
All right, Home Shield Foundation Repairs is ready to help you right now. Take care of waterproofing that basement before the next round of storms moves into St. Louis. You know, maybe it's something you've been putting off, but I want to tell you, my friend Matt Hayes is going to do right by you because he's a foundation specialist. He's the owner of this company. He tells me he lets the basement speak for itself. He matches the solution with the issue. He's not there to upsell stuff that you don't need. That's the difference, dealing directly with the owner as opposed to a sales guy that shows up from the other company. So let Matt come over and take a look for you. Just go to homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com, and he can waterproof cracks. He can fix bowing or leaning walls. He can put in sump pumps. He can do drain tiles, whatever it takes to make sure your basement stays dry from this point forward. When he leaves, he'll give you a lifetime warranty. Right now, for the rest of June, he's also offering a 20% discount for all first responders on his polyjacking services. So if you're a first responder and you need to get some concrete leveled up, Matt Hayes is your man at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
The Cards, the Cubs.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's victorymenshealth.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that are aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Working hard to pay for everyone else's entitlements. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size. If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house. That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This is 2A Tuesday, brought to you by the Range St. Louis West.
All right, my friend Mark Walters on the phone with us from Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, guys. Good morning, Kim.
Absolutely.
Morning.
Yeah, welcome back. It's been a week or two since we talked, and last week I was reporting on the fact that the DOJ joined that NRA suit against the Illinois assault weapons ban, which is a big relief, and it's got to help. And then I turn around and see that the state of Rhode Island did the exact same thing as Illinois and just banned so-called assault weapons.
Which is why, we've been talking about this going back to the Fourth Circuit case in Maryland for how long now?
I know.
It's probably been a couple of years, to be honest with you. If we were to go back and listen to our conversations over the past 2 years, that Fourth Circuit case has popped up, and that's why we wanted them to take that case. However, they didn't. So we're realists, right? We have to be realists. They didn't take the case. For whatever reason, they chose not to. But Kavanaugh signaled that they were getting ready to take one in the next term or two, is what he said. So it is very highly likely, after speaking with Mr. Alan Gottlieb, the founder of the Second Amendment Foundation, whose cases these are, including when the NRA joined, they joined the Second Amendment Foundation and FDC and others in this Illinois case. That one could be the one that's next on the chopping block that the court was looking at. And for most reasons, for most of what we think is happening here with the Supreme Court is we're just waiting for the lower courts. They've been doing this since Bruin in 2022, watching what the lower courts are doing before they finally take a case and make a decision on one of these things. And I will quote Mr. Gottlieb, we get the case in court, we win the case. It's that simple. But the people behind that blue line are suffering in the process. Rhode Island next, Illinois next, and their own tax dollars being used against them to try to take their firearms from them. It's very important that these cases be heard. We can only hope that they take one very, very soon. And it looks right now like it might be that Illinois case because that's the one that's tied up right now. But we have circuit splits. We feel good about it. We just need to get it in court.
Let's hope so. I mean, you've got these insane states like Illinois, now Rhode Island. California's been gone for a long time, but they used to have they had a 1 gun per month rule in California until the Second Amendment Foundation beat them in court, right?
Yeah, the Ninth Circus of all.
Yeah.
Okay, and we now obviously we know what California is going to do. California will appeal that, but Alan feels pretty strong about that case. Again, it was invoking Bruin. There is no historical context, so we feel pretty confident about that. There is absolutely no historical analog, as Bruin tells us there must be, and it's pretty clear that the Ninth Circuit, even if they seek an en banc hearing, either they might not get the en banc hearing or the en banc hearing will have no choice but to rule just like they did. So as it stands right now, one gun a month in California is dead. And it's very important to point out, too, guys, you just mentioned it again, the Second Amendment Foundation. Their name keeps coming up because it's the Second Amendment Foundation that has won over 85% of pro-gun cases litigated throughout the United States. So if you're not a member, you need to join them. You can just give them $5 a month. But these cases aren't free, and we need your help.
We talk so much about how important it is to make sure that the good guys who are actually responsible gun owners have access to them to be able to protect themselves. And you hear what happened in Michigan at that church where it was a security guard who was thankfully actually armed and was able to shoot and kill a guy who was coming in there trying to shoot and kill basically everybody at the church who apparently had been attending the church, I guess, at times with his mom. I mean, that's the problem is you have some of these soft targets like these schools and other, businesses or whatever, where these criminals know that they're not armed and that it's an easier target.
Yeah, and that's the way they've been, gun-free zones are killing zones, Kim. Yeah. You're spot on. But one thing that's fascinating about that Michigan case is we can't forget the importance of the Ford F-150.
That's right. That's right.
Deacon hit him and ran him over before the security guard shot him. I mean, this is a beautiful thing. This is a happy ending story, two-pronged. Good guy with a gun, good guy with an F-150 truck. Saved countless lives that day. Yeah, think about that, guys. Think about what we just said. You had a deacon at the church hit the guy with a F-150 pickup truck, run him over, and the security guard then shot him, saving countless lives. Where's ABC and NBC so we can CBS and MSDNC and CNN LOL on this? I mean, this is huge human interest story. They don't even bother talking about it.
They have no interest in it, right? Because it didn't end in the. Well, I'm not saying they would hope for the tragedy, but they would certainly have played it differently had he succeeded in getting into the church, which is sad. Back to the one gun per month lawsuit for just a second, because something just crossed my mind. Could you imagine a state passing a law saying that you could only go exercise your First Amendment rights one time a month? You could only you could only tweet one time a month with your opinion, and then anything more than that, they would prevent you from doing that. No, nobody could envision that.
Pick your Sunday. Decide which Sunday, your one Sunday a month, you're going to go to church.
When are you feeling spicy to be able to tweet something out?
Yeah,
it's
no
crazy.
kidding.
You're right. When you put it in that context, it's wild.
But it is 100% accurate. That's an accurate analogy. 100% accurate analogy. Imagine being able to go to church one Sunday a month. You got to pick your Sunday in advance because the government said you can only worship once a month.
Wow.
Or like you said, you can only tweet once a month, but we'll give you, you get an hour a week.
Yeah.
Or, an hour. That's
right.
Literally what's happening here when we're talking about law-abiding people exercising their right to bear arms. Look, I should be able to buy anything out of a vending machine. And we're getting closer to that, by the way, guys, because suppressors are now part of the reconciliation bill that came out of the House, and the Senate one-upped us.
Yeah.
And added the short-barreled rifles as well. So that literally guts the National Firearms Act with the exception of machine guns. I'll take the 2/3. My concern with that short-barreled being added in the Senate was it a political ploy, knowing the Democrats were going to come after the quote-unquote silencers, because Schumer's already told us only criminals, and Murphy said only criminals use silencers, which is a bunch of bunk. We know that. So did the Senate put that in there so that it was a bait and switch? So they could say, okay, the Democrats are coming after suppressors. We'll pull the Short Act in order to keep suppressors in. I don't know that, but it's possible. Either way, I've talked to some people that we believe reconciliation will move with both of them in there. So we're very close. This is a historic time to get this done and gut the NFA. We've never been this close in our lifetime.
I would agree. And Eric Burleson's been leading the fight on that. He said he was hoping that John Cornyn or someone in the Senate would add that extra language in there on the short-barreled rifles. So it'll stick. I don't think that'll be the issue that would keep it from passing the House if it gets back over there.
No. Oh, no. Gosh, no. If it gets back over to the House with the short barrel in it, which we expect it to do, it's going to move. And here's the deal. Trump wants this on his desk by July 4th. So what are we at? We've got 12 days. So, guys, call your senators, call your congressmen now and tell them to pass that reconciliation bill. Remember, reconciliation bills only require 51 votes, not subject to the filibuster. And this is a tax. So it fits the reconciliation bill, which is what it's all about, because we're talking about a $200 tax that you have to pay to exercise a right. This is historic. We've never been this close. We can wipe it out. It can be done now. Trump will sign it by July 4th. It's a done deal. Go into your gun shop, buy a short-barreled rifle, put a suppressor on it with nothing more than filling out your 4473.
I love it. I love it. Mark, remind people where they can listen to Daily Defense.
Yes, armedamericanradio.com. That's simple. You can find us there.
Outstanding. Thanks, my friend.
Love you guys. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Tim. Have a great day,
See you,
St.
Mark.
Louis.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon. Mark Walters there. Great to get him on here. He is a wealth of knowledge on this issue. If you haven't listened to his show, you need to. It's a good one. Kim, what are we talking about today on Kim on a Whim?
It's a very important month, Mark, and I don't think you realize this, but get your calendar out right now. It is Men's Health Month.
Is it really?
It is really important that you note that. And Planned Parenthood has a very special message for let's just say trans men.
I can't
there you
wait.
Go. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
And on westbound 270 past Elizabeth, and they're saying the left lane closed. Watch out for debris in that area. And earlier, it was an eastbound accident that was causing problems. So just be aware. Northbound 270, slow pockets between Gravois and Manchester. We've got northbound 55 slowing north of Rebus Barracks in the construction zone, the endless construction zone. Eastbound 64 slowing at Wing Haven and then just east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound, some moderate volume Hampton out through McCausland. 70 eastbound has had some volume, just moderate today around 141. And on the Illinois side, eastbound 5570 jams headed for Exchange. We've got road work over there again today. This time the left lanes are blocked. And westbound traffic is slow crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. This report brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. New Perspective Weldon Spring is redefining senior living. They've got modern apartments, delicious meals, entertainment, activities, and a state-of-the-art AI fall detection system. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic, 97.1 FM Talk.
All right. You can go visit my dentist. If you're looking for a dentist right now, I'm going to highly recommend that you go see Dr. Michael White down in his Sunset Hills office. A great staff. We've been going there for years for everything from fillings to caps to braces for my daughter when she had to get that done a few years back, and he got it done quickly and efficiently. And Dr. White's just great. He really wants to make sure that you're comfortable in the dentist's office. He gets it. He understands that a lot of people have a little PTSD when it comes to dental work. They've had a bad experience, or they don't like the pain or the sound of the drill, and he does everything he can to make it as pain-free as humanly possible. He doesn't want that to be the reason you don't show up. He also doesn't want cost to be the reason. He's worked hard to keep his prices affordable. He's willing to work with people. He doesn't want payment to be the reason you're not getting your dental emergency or issue dealt with. So call him. Tell him you heard me bragging about it and you'd like an appointment to meet Dr. Michael White. 314-270-8552. That's 270-8552. Or you can check out their office online. There's a video there telling you all about Dr. White at sunsethills.dentist.
Sponsored by Progressive. Progressive is here for all of life's needs with protection for your home, auto, business, and more. From timely repairs to customizable coverages and payment options, we make it easy. See if you can save at progressive.com.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you're still healthy and qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you not the government.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com. Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
The Freedom 13 remembers the heroes that made the ultimate sacrifice by supporting the veterans still with us. You can make a difference with just $13 a month. It's June for Jared in honor of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Learn more at 971talk.com/talkinaction.
Nourishment for your mind. Marc Cox. Kim on a whim.
I had no idea that June, well, they say it's Pride Month, but it's also Men's Health Month. Did you know that? It's an annual...
I did not know that. I knew it was Pride Month.
Well, I guess you're supposed to go get
Pride
checked
in
out.
men? I don't know.
It's supposed to raise awareness about preventable health problems and encourage early detection. I guess they say that men typically don't go to the doctor unless maybe they're forced.
Well, you hear me talk about that all the time with my friends at Victory Men's Health, right?
I do. I mean,
I think
Ethan
men-
is shaking his head. Yes,
I
like
think
that's true.
men tend to put those things off.
Yeah.
Ethan, do you back me up on that?
Definitely.
Honestly, you're the yearly physical is the last thing on your mind.
Well, they're not
it's just
exactly
something you
fun,
think
I would
about.
imagine. Just like a physical for a woman's not exactly ideal.
Right, but everybody should get the checkup, and
They should.
if you got somebody that's reminding you to do it, that makes it easier.
Well, Planned Parenthood wants to remind men also about something that's very important, and that is that trans men need cervical cancer screenings too. So they put out a post. This is Planned Parenthood of Southern New England. They put, it's Men's Health Month, and that means highlighting the health needs of all men in big capital letters. Trans men are men and need cervical cancer screenings too. Here are some ways to make cervical cancer screening more comfortable. Insert the speculum yourself, self-collected screening, which requires no exam, and anxiety medication. And they even have images, and the chest area is like blacked out. It's like a black rectangle over the chest area where I guess, they did the chop.
I have so many questions. So, first of all, if you are a woman who thinks she's a man, do you just stop going to the OBGYN? Like you just stop? Because
that's a
I
great
could be
question.
wrong, but I think if you walked into one of these men's clinics with the wrong plumbing, they wouldn't quite know what to do with you. I could be wrong about that. So again, even using the excuse that men, I'm using air quotes here, that men tend to put off their care. If you're a woman with a cervix who thinks she's a man, you're still going to have to go to an OB to get your health checkup, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Because most of these, I don't think you're going to be getting that done at a GP's office, right? Am I wrong about that?
well,
When you
no,
go to
I-
an OB
no, you
for
don't
something
have
like
to.
that?
No, I mean,
Gynecologist?
well,
right?
yeah, I'd be a gynecologist who would typically do these. I don't know if there would be a general practitioner who would do something like this, but Dude, I love how there's just
I
silence.
just gotta-
like
I
Mark's
don't-
trying to figure out what questions are
I don't-
appropriate to ask.
Well,
here.
no, it's not. I don't have a cervix, so I don't know.
What? You don't?
I don't.
What?
I'm
I
a
thought
man.
anybody could. If you wanted one, you just poof, you had one.
You just
Mark,
imagine
this
it
is
and
news
it
to me.
exists.
Yes, you identify as having a cervix, and therefore you officially have one.
So, what is the picture that they used on the Planned Parenthood flyer or whatever? What is
like
it?
It's a person with like pinkish hair who's sitting in kind of a weird position
With no shirt on,
with
right?
no shirt on, shorts on, no shirt on, and then the black rectangle over the chest area, and that's the image that they use with the message, trans men need cervical cancer screening too.
Huh.
But I mean, when you go to a lot of these doctors' offices now, it says like what's your gender, and it will say, male, female, don't want to identify. Like, why do you
prefer not to say?
Why do you get a choice?
Confused.
Like why is that a thing where you just prefer not to say if you're a man or woman?
Should be a box that says mental health crisis, and you click that one.
When I go to buy a house or do anything and it says how much do you make, I'm like, I prefer not to say. I mean, can I just do that with everything in life? If it makes me uncomfortable,
no,
then I can just say I prefer not to say.
No, you have to.
Did you murder someone?
Make
I'd
a stand.
prefer not to say. Did you drop that bomb? I would also prefer not to say that.
Now they're mad because the state of Missouri doesn't want to give you a driver's license that doesn't match your birth certificate. So you can't just claim that you're non-binary.
They made it tougher because I guess before
license.
You would be able to go
you
to the
could
DMV and just get it changed right then and there. And now they're saying you have to show that you have either taken hormones
drop
or
trowel
you've gotten surgery. Oh, yeah. We're going to need to do an exam, please.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a check here if you just step into the back room.
Can you imagine? It'd be like the airport, like
Pat,
a straight up
Pat is going to be
search.
patting you down in the back room. Please just step through this door.
Bertha is going to be doing the check here. Bertha, please come back here.
Oh my gosh.
You need a cervical exam.
Oh, good to know that it's Men's Health Month for all of
Go
you
get
with
your
the cervix
cervical
out
cancer
there.
screening, all the men out there.
Woo! All right. Coming up, we tried to get Harley Lippman on yesterday. He's a foreign affairs analyst, expert in the Middle East. Anxious to hear what he has to say about this so-called ceasefire where nobody ceased firing overnight. And then Ryan Wiggins is going to be in here on the collapse of fundraising for the DNC. We'll get to that about 8:35. Stay tuned.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Well, you can find out how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You will learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, all of it. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are a handful of openings for the classes this month and next. Just register by calling 314-947-2012. 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number. 314-947-2012.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
It's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res, and summer is finally here. It's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the summer. You know, Zero Res can handle every surface in your home and business: carpets, tiles, grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, and air ducts. And this month, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Zero Res has been in my home for a decade. I trust them. They do great work. The techs are awesome. Don't leave the deep cleaning to yourself with do-it-yourself dirt-attracting carpet-soaking machines. I used to do that. I made a mistake. No picking up equipment from the store and returning it back later. You get professional carpet cleaners, and better yet, it's safe for people, pets, and the planet. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129, and again, $75 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget to do that. It's important. Visit ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020 and ask for the Mark Reardon or 97.1 FM Talk special. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero res.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
They don't know what they're doing. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump said this morning with an F-bomb thrown in, talking to reporters before taking off for the NATO summit, upset about ceasefire violations.
I'm not happy with Iran either, but I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land.
Israel says it was 2 missiles Iran fired that were shot down, and then it vowed to retaliate.
Following up on social media, President Trump warned Israel dropping more bombs is a major violation, writing, "Bring your pilots home now."
Fox's Jared Halpern of the White House. Well, another Trump post came after the president talked to Israel's prime minister on Air Force One, writing, "Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around." Iran also launched missiles before the ceasefire took effect.
One of them got through the defenses and hit here in the town of Beersheba.
Fox's Mike Tobin outside a building with a big crater in it.
That is the precise area of impact. There was a family of 4 that went into the bomb shelter. These bomb shelters do a good job of protecting people in the blast radius, not when they take a direct impact like that. That family was killed.
Now, the president has also been talking to reporters on the flight to the Netherlands that he doesn't want regime change in Iran, saying that would be chaos. He insists the U.S. airstrikes that hit Iran's nuclear facilities over the weekend badly damaged their program, feared to be building weapons. As for the NATO summit, Fox's Jonathan Savage reports from The Hague the Russia-Ukraine war will be a topic.
President Zelensky gets a meeting with the alliance's Secretary General today. Mark Rutte announced yesterday that European countries had pledged $35 billion to Ukraine's defense this year, up from $20 billion. But the Ukrainian president won't be at the leaders' meeting tomorrow. He's hoping to meet President Trump on the sidelines.
Well, the president also just said on Air Force One he might meet with Zelensky. And while he heads overseas, his intelligence leaders will give members of Congress classified briefings today on the Iran-Israel conflict. America's listening to Fox News.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. And used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour. And dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AB.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. We're already in the 80s now. 8:03 is our time. 82 degrees. It's muggy out there. At this hour, we're learning more about Governor Mike Kehoe's picks for the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners. Board members include the former St. Louis City Director of Personnel, Sonia Jenkins Gray, a familiar name. Also the owner of Chris's Pancakes, Chris Saracino, and car dealership owner, Don Brown. Kehoe appointed 5 members there to the board, and then Mayor Kara Spencer serves as the 6th. St. Louis Alderman Rasheen Aldridge criticized the appointments, claiming there's a lack of diversity because Kehoe only selected one person of color. Seniors hoping to take advantage of the property tax freeze here in St. Louis City will have a little bit of extra time to apply. That's because city leaders are extending the deadline to submit an application until the end of July. That is in light of the May deadly tornado. Now, here's something to keep in mind. The tax freeze only applies to city taxes. So taxes, for example, that go to public schools, libraries, and the zoo district do not apply here. Changes are coming to St. Luke's. The hospital system is closing its DePere Hospital at the end of August. The hospital network blames the closure on what it says is increasing financial pressure and consistently low utilization. St. Luke's, as you might remember, closed several clinics back in January of 2024, and that was part of its so-called One St. Luke's Progress Plan. 8:04 is our time, 82 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. All All right, in sports, hey, a big win for the Cardinals against the Cubs yesterday. If you missed this, they actually won that game 8-2. Like I said, that's a great win. We'll take that against the Cubs. Game 2 coming up tonight, Busch Stadium, first pitch, 6:45. And then for any soccer fans, City SC at home playing Orlando City tomorrow night. 82 degrees now, 8:05 is our time. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident northbound 270, and this one is approaching 44. It's blocking the left lane, and traffic, of course, stacked up behind it. We just had a report of a commercial vehicle fire westbound 270 west of Lindbergh, and an earlier accident southbound 270. That one was south of Page. Still a little bit of volume in that area. Now westbound 6440 is lined up, and it's approaching Hampton out through McCausland. Most of the eastbound volume there is east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. 70 has some moderate volume at the Blanchette Bridge through 270. If you are headed in from Illinois, volume on 5564 westbound from the 70 split across the Poplar, and eastbound 5570 jams headed for Exchange, where we've got lane closures due to road work yet again today. This report brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. Sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Another day, more summertime weather, partly sunny, hot and humid, just a slight chance of a pop-up afternoon storm. 95 today. The record is 102 from 1988. We're not going to be close to that. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, 75 for the overnight low. Wednesday, partly sunny, hot and humid, maybe a pop afternoon storm, and 95 once again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Coming up on 8:07 on this Tuesday morning, 82 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides.
The bottom line is,
I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice. Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right. Good morning to you. Welcome in on your Tuesday morning. The key time to have been outside, I just have to tell you from personal experience here, would have been about 4 a.m.
It was still hot when I left the house.
It was 81 this morning on my truck on the way in, but actually in the cool of the morning hours, it actually felt halfway decent. So that would have been the time to get up and exercise or whatever you're going to do. You've blown it at this point. It's 8:08. It's already 90 degrees outside. What temperature? What temperature are we showing? Do we know?
It's like mid 80s.
Is it already? It's got to be, and the humidity's got to be off the charts.
It's just sticky out.
Woo!
Yeah,
man.
Michael was trying to mow the lawn yesterday, and you're out there for like an hour, and it's just you're dripping sweat.
It feels like 90 right now. It says here on my crap app, and it's going to be 95 today is what it claims. But it claims the temperature is only 83 with a heat advisory now until 9 p.m.
Yeah, they were showing 88 in St. Louis.
That's
but
the funny
the dash
thing.
on my truck did say 81 this
My
morning.
phone will say one thing. The app, then like you'll have my car will say another thing. And obviously, if it's sitting in the heat, I get it's going to say higher, but still.
Yeah.
That's why we need Dave Murray, because I'll listen to him.
I would agree with that. Well, stay tuned for his forecast. I'm sure we'll be having that here shortly. Kim St. Ange, Ethan Bright, Sue Thomas in here for your traffic in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. We've got Harley Lippman coming up with more analysis on is there a ceasefire? Is there not a ceasefire? The president's on his way to a NATO conference in the Netherlands. He had some choice words for both sides on his way out the door. So we'll let you hear from him here in a couple of minutes. He's very upset because he thought he had this figured out. And then the eons old hatred between these two states has broken through again. And the Israelis suffered 4 casualties overnight from rockets sent from Iran, and then they apparently hit them again. And it was all supposed to stop this morning, which it didn't do, which has led to the frustration. So we'll talk to Harley Lippman coming up. Ryan Wiggins at the bottom of the hour with more of the chaos going on over for the Democratic National Committee. Ryan's going to join us with more on that, his thoughts on that. Wiggins America here at the bottom of the hour for you. But right now, Ethan, please, let's get to our top stories.
The Marc Cox short list.
Well, we basically have 2 countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, they don't know what the blank beep they're doing. He said that on network television this morning on his way to the helicopter. And the president, his frustration is showing through with his inability to get these 2 countries to realize that they need to stop shooting at each other.
His minions, his sycophants, are also not going to take into account U.S. intelligence, and they're going to go on Donald Trump's gut. And it's for somebody who has so little understanding of the world events and world history and the Middle East, it is a really dangerous time, I think, for the United States.
You got to love John Brennan lecturing other people on right and wrong. This guy is a joke. He's over on CNN, and he said all that right before the ceasefire was announced.
The use of military force, which is offensive in nature, must be approved by the House and the Senate. That's according to the Constitution. It's not optional.
Hakeem Jeffries, latest hypocrite on the left, clearly forgetting all of the times that, I don't know, let's go back and count. George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, many times they fired rockets at terrorists in other countries, and suddenly they now have to invoke the War Powers Act by Hakeem Jeffries.
Along with Mayor Kara Spencer, Kehoe named businessmen Brad Arteaga, Chris Saraceno, Eddie McVeigh, as well as former city personnel director Sonia Jenkins Gray as voting members. Car dealer Don Brown is also on the board as a non-voting member.
Yeah, there you have it. There's your new police board for the city of St. Louis. Got them all lined up out there, and according to media reports, it's a whitewash of the police board.
I guess that's what they're angry about.
It's been whitewashed because there's not enough diversity on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be anxious to hear what Governor Kehoe's explanation to that would be. My guess is it would be a simple one. I looked at people based on their qualifications, and I didn't ask what color they were. Now, that may not address the political reality of the fact that in the city of St. Louis, where with the exception of the comptroller, the top 2 of the top elected officials are, the mayor. But you've got plenty of African-American representation on the board of aldermen.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. I guess the political reality is you can't avoid that complaint in the progressive vacuum that is city politics these days.
What's interesting to me, though, is the most surprising pick is Sonia Jenkins Gray. And
Yes.
she's the only woman, she's Black woman on the board. I'm not surprised at all that he picked Don Brown because his Kehoe's background is with, the car dealership. So I don't know if I'm assuming they're buddies, and he is a non-voting member. So I guess he'll just be there to discuss his thoughts on different issues.
I guess so. Like Saraceno, though, he is a longtime businessman in the St. Louis area. He should have a say on policing matters. He should have. I'm sure his point of view is very important. Now, Lord knows how many of his cars have been broken into on his lot down there over the years.
True.
So these issues, plus he is a big supporter of the police. I mean, I've been to these luncheons that they do to honor the different police precincts or districts, and he attends many of those.
That's good.
So he's long been involved. He would be, I think, considered a friend of police. Maybe that's what the left doesn't want. They don't want anybody who has an ounce of compassion for the men and women who put it on the line every day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, Chris Saraceno is the owner of Chris's Pancakes. So you have a couple people who own different restaurants, and obviously I said Don Brown, and so yeah, I mean this will be interesting. When did because this is in effect, was it August or was this? I'm trying to remember how this whole thing would be structured, because we were obviously waiting for him to make his appointments, and now that that's done, and Kara Spencer will be the 6th. Okay, so what's the next step?
Yeah, there? I do not see the date at which point it all becomes effective. I mean, in terms of them meeting for the first time, but the appointments are in, and now you have it. They're not colorful and diverse enough for some of the critics in the city. We shall see. All right, coming up, we're going to talk more about the ceasefire that maybe still is. I don't know. We'll talk to Harley Lippman. He is a foreign affairs analyst. He knows a lot about what's going on in the Middle East. He's coming up right after the break.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got volume. There was an accident on northbound 270, just a little bit south of 44, and it's been blocking the left lane. It looks like they're just moving that out of the way. But we've got some slow-moving traffic behind it, back to about 21. 141 north and southbound, well, especially northbound, busy at 44 right now. Southbound 270, moderate volume at Ladue Road. Eastbound 70 looks pretty good. There's some moderate volume at the Rock Road, and then it's fine. And westbound 64 is a slow go, but it's just Hampton out through Hanley. Eastbound slowing on either side of 170. And volume on the Illinois side, eastbound 5570 headed for Exchange. We've got road work and lane closures. And just the usual westbound across the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by the United States Air Force Band of Mid-America. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Celebrate Independence Day with a free concert by the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America. July 2nd, 7 p.m. at Logan University in Chesterfield, showcasing patriotic music and more. Get free tickets at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
You do not want to take a chance that one of the big storms comes along and you've got a tree hanging over your house and it falls, it damages that new roof you just had put on, or the siding on the side of your house. That's a mess. You got to mess around and file another insurance claim. That causes your rates to go up. Get that stuff knocked out now. Call Hanson's Tree Service. My friend Chad will be glad to send somebody over to your house to get it taken care of. The person that comes over is an arborist, by the way, who knows more about trees, has forgotten more than you'll probably ever know, and they can look at your trees with a critical eye and say, that one's got some disease we need to fix. This one is half dead. You need to take it down. That limb is not good where it is. You need to remove that limb. Your tree's going to be healthier as a result of it. These are all things that can save you money every year. And trees are an asset in your yard. You want an arborist who can take care of a little investment, could go a long way toward their health and, of course, savings to your home. You can order mulch as well and compost directly from Hanson's Tree site, at their website, which is hansonstree.com. Just click the products tab, select whether you want mulch or compost, and then you can view the color and the size and the cost all right online. It's hansonstree.com.
Hey, it's Annie with my friend Stewie, and you know Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan gets you your mortgage or your refinance at no closing costs. And I have Stewie with me right now. You're all about saving people money. Fiscal responsibility is really in right now, and you've got something up your sleeve for these folks.
You know what, Annie? Some people like to get better cash flow. Other people just want to pay off all their debt. So we're going to do something very, very unique. In Scotland, it was traditional additional to paint the door red once you paid off your mortgage. So we're going to give you the Red Bagel Challenge. If you refinance with us and you consolidate your debt and you get your mortgage paid off in half the period of time remaining, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus at the end of that term.
Well, Stewie's all about helping you build your wealth and build equity, and the bagel loan is another way to do it. Remember, no closing costs with the bagel loan. Reach out to Stewie directly with 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
In the know. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Sure, they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it. Okay?
All right. That, of course, President Trump this morning, as he was departing the White House for this NATO summit in the Netherlands, commenting on the ceasefire, or I guess what you'd call a lack of a ceasefire. We thought there would be a ceasefire after one more round each, and then that didn't happen early this morning. I'm sure the president's been burning up the phone. We've got Harley Lippman with us at this hour. He's a foreign affairs analyst. He's the CEO and founder of Genesis 10. And Mr. Lippman, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. What is your take on where things stand right now?
It's really very complicated and very interesting because on the one hand, it looks like Iran and Qatar played Trump. You know, they're filled with rage, particularly Iran against the United States, because the United States bombed the nuclear sites. They're filled with rage against the United States because they hate America. America's a big Satan. And they feel that Trump tricked them by saying that there'll be a 2-week period of diplomacy before he does anything. And then right away at the very beginning, he bombed the nuclear sites in Iran. So they're very shrewd, among the best negotiators in the world. And so that's one theory. The other theory is Iran doesn't mean it. These are people filled with grandiosity. They're delusional. They act like they won. I was on a television show last night, an Arab show, with a senior Iranian official. And he was so smug and arrogant. He acted like he won. I mean, wow. This is like Cuba. This is like Cuba taking out the United States. By the way, in the history of warfare, I don't know if there are many examples where a tiny country, a fraction the size of Iran, Israel is a tiny country, and Iran is 10 times the population of Israel and 80 times the size, that could take out a bigger nation like that in a matter of days. And yet Iran acts like they're winning, they have the upper hand, and they're going to beat us.
You know, you heard President Trump today before he got on the plane. He was talking about how he's angry with both Iran and Israel for violating the ceasefire. It seems to me that Iran fired first, you know, that Israel, maybe that wasn't the best plan of attack for Israel, but that it seems like it'd be natural to want to retaliate when they lobbed bombs over at them just hours after the ceasefire went into effect.
No, I think you're right. And I strongly suspect that Bibi Netanyahu, who desperately needs and wants a good relationship with President Trump, will be apologizing to President Trump and working with President Trump's agenda. Israel needs the support of the United States more than ever. Israel has been very isolated in the world, particularly because of the Gaza war. And even though Israel has certain support in what they're doing for Iran, because Israel's doing the world a favor, there are challenges there. I'll say one other thing, though, that a lot of people miss. President Trump did an extraordinary thing, and this will be his legacy. I don't think anything will happen in his presidency that could be as meaningful as what happened what he did to Iran, because he made a statement of nuclear non-proliferation.
Yes.
That's really where he'll hang his hat on his legacy. Even if we let Iran continue, there will certainly be an arms race in the Middle East. And already Saudi Arabia said if Iran is poised to get a nuclear bomb, they'll get one. And if Saudi Arabia gets one, Turkey, Qatar, Egypt, Oman, they'll get one. And in that part of the world, someone's going to end up using one. So while a lot of people are criticizing President Trump, I understand it. Yes, maybe he should have consulted with Congress. This is where it's all partisan. Look at the big picture, I would say to people. He did the world a favor. Iran is the most dangerous regime in the world. And why do I say that? They threaten the destruction of another nation. No nuclear-armed country does that. Not even India and Pakistan that just fought a military conflict with each other. And they both possess nuclear weapons, India and Pakistan, but both have signed protocols that they'll never use it first. And also, it's you have the worst nation in the world that wants the worst weapons in the world.
Yes.
And says they'll use it. Says they want to destroy Israel and America. Israel first, the little Satan. America next, the big Satan. And their actions do everything to believe that. And,
Well,
a lot of people compare. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think the polls bear out that people agree with that. And I think they agree largely with what the president's actions are so far. I wonder, Mr. Lippman, what impact you think it'll have on what we're seeing across America, the anti-Semitic movement. I noticed in your bio that at some point you've served on advisory boards at Yale and Columbia. I mean, how disappointed are you with those two?
Yeah, I'm still on their board, by the way. So it's not past tense. It's
okay.
present. Yeah, so I deal with that. Yes, it's very, on that note, we shifted to another topic. I'm happy to discuss it. It's very disturbing, very sad, and frightening to see what goes on in American universities. I went to Columbia when there were demonstrations here recently, and I met with some Jewish students, and I met in particular with a group of Jewish girls, and they told me they get surrounded by people, particularly men, that are wearing masks. So they surround them, and they get very close to the girls. They'll surround 2 girls, 1 girl, or 5 girls, Jewish girls, and they'll start to intimidate them. They'll say, "Are you a Zionist? Are you a Zionist? That don't you agree Israel's committing genocide?" And they get increasingly closer to these girls as they're doing this. And this is as they're going to class. I mean, these are just some of the examples of anti-Semitism. And I asked another Jewish student, I said, "What happens in terms of class, anti-Semitism? What do you experience there?" And they said if they write a paper that's pro-Israel, they're going to get a bad grade.
Wow.
They write a paper that's pro-Palestinian, they're going to get a good grade. And, they're living in a terrible situation. The university doesn't do anything about it. I'll give you a good example.
I'm sorry, sir. I hate to interrupt. I got about 30 seconds left here.
Okay, on this, I'll do it then within that time. So if there were black girls who were surrounded by white men who were wearing hoods and who were doing the same thing, intimidating them, the university would shut that down in 2 seconds.
Right.
Yes, they would.
So it shows the double standard and why it's anti-Semitism.
Well, Mr. Harley Lippman, we appreciate your time today, sir. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Look forward to having you on again here at some point. We're going to be back with Ryan Wiggins after this.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law. There's an evil new twist in the tragic story of baby powder and its link to ovarian cancer. Recently uncovered documents reveal that talc can contain asbestos.
The same asbestos that we know causes mesothelioma.
Right, and ovarian cancer.
In the 1970s, the industry wrote its own rules, allowing Johnson & Johnson to claim that its talc was asbestos-free, as long as it contained less than 1% asbestos.
Of course, Johnson & Johnson helped write those rules. So while we're using hazmat suits to remove the asbestos from our homes, Johnson & Johnson was telling women it's safe for their bodies.
Unbelievable. So if you've used talcum powder for feminine hygiene and contracted ovarian cancer, call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
They've already won several large verdicts against Johnson & Johnson for women just like you.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH. That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Let's talk about retirement. It's something we're all going to face at some point, right? No matter how young you feel, you will want to retire at some point. Talk to my friends at the Retirement Advisory Group, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, Thomas Helbig. Let them tell you what they've done for other people. It's pretty simple. They can help you set up strategies to protect your nest egg from the volatility of the market. And if you consider what it's done the last 2 or 3 months, and you're close to retirement, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Not a penny of their clients' money got lost in the stock market when all that was going on. So those people could sleep well at night knowing that their money was secure and that they had the plan in place for income into and through their retirement. So call them today if you have any questions. They're happy to meet with you. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Online at retirementkey.com.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. U.S. cafe chain Starbucks said it is not currently considering a full sale of its China operations after Chinese financial magazine Caixin reported that it was, without disclosing where it obtained the information. Caixin also reported that Starbucks has held preliminary talks with more than a dozen potential buyers. Oil prices are down by more than 3% after Israel agreed to President Trump's proposal for a ceasefire with Iran, alleviating worries of supply disruptions in the Middle East. West Texas Intermediate currently sits at $66.21 per barrel. Brent currently sits at $69.06 per barrel. Virgin Australia shares rallied 8.3% this morning after its $439 million initial public offering, a transaction dealmakers hope will revive a subdued listings market. The airline sold more than 236 million shares. Futures are moderately higher after the Middle East ceasefire was accepted. Monday, the Dow Industrials gained 374. That's Your Money Now.
What does the future of mobility in Michigan sound like? That's the sound of new EV charging stations at our state parks. That's the sound of over $20 billion in new investments to produce EVs and batteries in Michigan. And that's the silence of Michigan's new en-road wireless charging system. Discover all the ways MEDC is driving next-gen mobility in Michigan at michiganbusiness.org.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we still have some volume out there. Nothing too terrible. Moderate volume along northbound 270 in pockets between 21 and Ladue Road. Southbound a little slow at Ladue Road as well. Eastbound 64, just volume east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Northbound 141 jams at 44. Eastbound 70, a little slow east of 270. And on the Illinois side, there is heavy traffic eastbound 5570 approaching Exchange, where we've got road work today until 7 o'clock tonight. That's when they say they will have it picked up. And it could be a little bit earlier. But if you're westbound, there's just moderate volume for the length of the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
There are inside tips and tricks on how to navigate retirement, because most of us have saved money and we think this is great, I'm saving, but how do you know if it's enough? And how do you know what you should know about how to navigate the government, how things are set up? What about Medicare? How do you do all of that? This is why I love the idea of a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101, where they teach you all of that, or as much as they can, obviously, in 3 hours. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects. They have decades of experience with this, but they walk you through some of this so you understand how the process works. Now, they do it for free, but they want you to bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. So just call. What do you have to lose by sitting in a class and figuring out how things work? 314-947-2012 is the number. 314-947-2012.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Making radio great again. The Marc Cox Morning Show. The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day depending on what they can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zahran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce. We will...
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! Oh, Ryan Wiggins, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fine. I had to play that. That's one of the 2 of the 3 nut jobs who are running for mayor of New York today. They have the big primary where it's like prom king and queen voting. You can vote for everybody. They do the same thing in New York that they do in the city of St. Louis, and they have ranked choice voting. That guy he's a socialist, and he's a anti-Zionist. He's an anti-Semite. He's running for mayor, and he wants to socialize all of the grocery stores in New York. He wants to make them city-owned so they can subsidize food prices for people in New York. The world has gone crazy.
Well, it makes you wonder if no private grocery stores can make money in New York City, where, there happens to be quite a bit of population right there packed in pretty tight. So if you can't make any money as a grocery store in New York City, what exactly is he going to do to solve the problem that is underlying that? Because if you put in a city-owned grocery store, it's just going to have the same issues as the private grocery store with crime and theft and everything else. So how are you going to solve that issue?
Well, if you're still in the government's money, it doesn't matter because they all do it, right?
Oh, that's true. I guess that's
Thank
true. You can steal from the government all you want.
Ask Nancy Pelosi, who's a multi-millionaire on a $180,000 a year salary for all these years. All right, buddy, you were talking, speaking of the Democratic Party and some of the chaos that's going on out there. They don't know what to do with Trump, but in the meantime, things are not going well on the other side of the aisle.
No, internally, the DNC, the Democrat National Committee, is in some serious turmoil. I mean, you've seen the polls, Mark. The polls for the Democrat Party are incredibly low. And, that's the reason that's abnormal is because in a resistance time, when the opposite party is in power, usually the party kind of coalesces and says, yeah, let's get together and there's kind of a common enemy and you can fight easier and there's less fracturing. The exact opposite thing has happened to the Democrat Party under Trump. They can't figure out how to attack him. They just kind of keep throwing everything at the wall and nobody's happy and the approval rating is super low. But the DNC itself is also in complete chaos. Last week, two major influential union heads stepped out of the DNC entirely. One of them you probably know pretty well, the American Federation of Teachers President Randy Weingarten is one of them. And the other is American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees President Lee Saunders. They both left. And then there's this David Hogg thing going on. But the bigger issue is that they don't have any money. And they can't get anybody to donate to them right now because their own people hate them so bad.
It's a dilemma. Now, I was told that they started running short of money. Apparently, even before the election, I think people had given up and they weren't donating. Like they get their normal donations through Act Blue, but of course that's under investigation too because of the belief that a lot of that money was being funneled back from USAID grants that had been handed out around the globe.
Yes. You know what, Mark? I'm glad you brought that up because this was actually breaking just last night, early this morning, that all the Act Blue stuff is kind of related because there's so much corruption. They're under investigation and they can't figure out where a lot of their money was coming from. They were pulling money illegally from donors that had no idea that they were, well, you call them donors. They weren't donors because they weren't actually donating. That's fraud. And so they're all under these investigations. But just last night, Mark, one of the campaign executives for multiple Democrat campaigns over the last few years, and there's a bunch of names, but Tim Kaine is the one that comes to mind. He's like the biggest name. His campaign advisor has been charged with embezzlement, $840,000 she was pulling from her own campaign coffers just to enrich herself. So no matter which direction you look, it's complete chaos. And all of this funding, like you said, in 2024, people were pulling from it. I mean, it looks like it was what was even real. You look at all these grants and you're like, how much of this was actually people donating?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad somebody's looking into it because they always say you have to follow the money. And so often nobody does. I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of that. Do you think? I mean, honestly, I remember when all those pie charts came out after USAID was canceled and it said that, we traced this money from here to here, and then it was given to this organization. Then some of it went back to the Clinton Foundation. I mean, the money was going everywhere, and I haven't heard anything about that since right after the election.
Well,
since right after Trump was sworn in. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, this stuff takes time, but like you said, it's such a big kind of beast that you don't know there's so many threads that are intertangled that you don't know which one is going to pull, because once you start pulling one, they're all going to start kind of fraying out. So you don't know which one it's going to be.
Well, they get this rescission bill passed, they're going to permanently end a lot of that spending. And that's going to be the biggest shock for the Democrats. They're going to have to go back on bended knee to some of these big left-wing contributors, Soros and the others who are sending them money. They've been filtering their money through other organizations, but they're going to have to start giving it back to the DNC. They'll have to. Right. Yeah. And you know what I'm glad to see is that, amidst all, there's so many different issues, as you know, we're covering all these things all the time. This last few days, of course, it's been international war. I mean, you can't take your eyes off the ball for a second, but Trump isn't. He just tweeted out or truthed out, depending on which platform he's using, yesterday
a video of just some kid on YouTube who goes around. You've probably seen him, just some kid that goes around and interviews people at these No Kings protests and stuff. And he exposes professional paid protesters and tracks them through all these different protests. And Trump tweeted out this kid's video and said, look, this kid's finding out all of these different people that are linked back to, a lot of them to Soros and all these different NGO money. So I think this is still on Trump's radar, no matter what else is going on all the time.
Well, that's good. Ryan, I know you'll be in later today for Annie's show. Remind people when they can listen to Wiggins America, please.
Yeah, my show is on the weekend, Saturday morning 7 to 8 and Sunday night 7 to 8.
Outstanding. Ryan, thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep, we will talk soon. Had to get Ryan on the phone today. We'll get him back in the studio maybe next week when Mark's on vacation.
I was
Maybe
going to say, Mark,
me.
you're not even here.
Maybe he was avoiding me. You think?
That's probably it. I didn't want to tell you, but you're right.
It's altogether possible that's what happened here this morning. All right, we're going to get to a quick break here, and we'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Let's see what we've got here. On the Illinois side, 5570 eastbound, slowing as you head toward Exchange. They've got the left lanes down until 7 tonight for road work. And some moderate volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. Westbound 64, that's a slow go. Hampton out through McCausland. Mainly moderate volume eastbound, east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. We've got moderate volume northbound 270, and that's in pockets Gravois up through 64. Southbound, some moderate volume, especially in the right lanes, headed for 6440 itself. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call even though it's late, JerryKelly.com.
Let's talk Home Shield for just a minute. You know, I love helping first responders, and right now they're going to help you out too. If you're a member of the fire, the police, EMS, if you are a first responder and you have got some issues going on around your house where you have uneven concrete, they can come in and use their polyjacking service, and they'll give you 20% off the cost of that through the end of the month for first responders. I love the fact that my friend Matt Hayes is doing this. He owns this local small company that does such great work. This is an important work that they do too, right? You don't have to replace your whole driveway because it's sagging in one spot. You can lift it back up using a polyjacking. They do this all the time. They do it on porches and steps. They can do it in basements if that's the problem. Matt showed me an example of a house built on a slab. They had to break open a portion to work on some plumbing. When they looked in there, they realized there was this massive hole underneath the floor that could have eventually led to the concrete collapsing, and they were able to get in there and fill that in with this polyjacking material to support the floor. So it's very important. It's an easy application for them to do, and if you're a first responder right now, you're going to get 20% off that. But you should call them. They've done a lot of work for my listeners here on 97.1 FM Talk. Just go online to HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
The Annie Fry Show.
Joey Jones's new book. It's called Behind the Badge.
And ICE isn't doing anything wrong by deporting people that are here illegally, regardless of whatever the criminal record is.
The Annie Fry Show. Weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.1 FM Talk. He's not from the government, but he is here to help. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
Well, one of the founding members of a Bad Company has died. Mick Rouse, member of Bad Company and Mott the Hoople, has died at the age of 81. And I didn't realize this, but apparently right after his last performance at London's O2 Arena back in 2016, he had a stroke. And for the most part, he's been bedridden ever since. I did not realize that. They didn't give any further details on the cause of death, but he's clearly been in pretty bad shape for 9, 8, 10 years now, and has now passed away. So that's sad news. A great band, great British rock band there. Wanted to play this. Somebody online, somebody on the Facebook page was questioning the soundbite that I chose to use from President Trump earlier, that I didn't play the whole bite. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about here. Trump didn't just blame Iran. He's mad at Iran and Israel. There seems to be some suggestion that I did not play the full soundbite. Here's part of what the president said outside of the helicopter this morning.
Do you guys speak for the violator? Did you talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu last night?
I took everybody. You urge both sides not to violate the ceasefire, but reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay?
As soon as I can get away from you peoples, I'm going to see if I can stop it. So, yeah, he was equally critical of Israel as he was with Iran for this.
Yeah. So is he suggesting that it wasn't not the Iranian government that was behind these bombs that they sent over to Israel after the ceasefire was in effect, but someone I don't who would have access to them somehow? I don't know. It almost made it seem like they couldn't rein in their people, more or less.
Well, yeah, he could be suggesting that, and I had heard some other reporting on that this morning, that in fact maybe some rogue element in the Iranian army had fired a couple of missiles after they were supposed to be on lockdown. And then, of course, Israel is going to respond because those missiles ended up killing 4 more Israelis, bringing the total to 28 deaths since this thing started.
I don't blame Israel for wanting to retaliate. If the bomb, first of all, Iran violated the ceasefire, so that's a problem in and of itself. But then the fact that people were killed, do you just sit back there and take that? I don't think you do. I don't think the United States would do that. So I'm a little surprised. I get what Trump is saying, but I'm a little surprised he's coming down on Israel.
Well, I think you need both of them to show restraint for something like that to work. My guess is there will still be a ceasefire of some sort. But I'm sure the president's disappointed it didn't happen yesterday.
Right.
I did get a soundbite earlier that I had not had a chance to play yet from Katie Britt, the senator. And I don't know if I agree with her on this or not because of the politics of it, but she's probably right.
President Trump is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize, no doubt. You look at what he's done with the Congo and Rwanda. You look at where he is with Pakistan and India and what he's done there. And then you look at this, what everyone talked about, but no one thought was possible.
Yeah, she said that pre-ceasefire violation, but she thinks that she listed more than one example of where he's managed to go in and strike a peace deal.
But whoever is in charge of deciding who gets those is not ever going to pick Trump.
They will never pick Trump.
Where he does potentially deserve, some sort of fame would be maybe his face up there on Mount Rushmore. I know that Nancy Pelosi felt that somehow Joe Biden deserved his face. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said, as if he had done all these remarkable things.
Here's what else Katie Britt said about it.
President Trump understands what we need. We need a president who is unafraid to act and that stands firmly with the American citizens. That's what we saw today. And look, Democrats don't know what to say. I mean, their silence has never been louder, if you know what I mean. And I think it's because President Trump just keeps winning and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, she got a point there. There wasn't as much cane raised as I expected after the bombings. Even though a few have screamed about the War Powers Act, there are a whole laundry list of examples of Obama and past presidents going in and dropping cruise missiles on people and never invoking, declaring war in front of Congress. After 9/11 specifically, presidents were given a lot more authority to do that, and they're not going to get anywhere with these claims today either, I don't believe. All right, stay tuned. The president, by the way, departed this morning for a NATO summit where I'm sure this is going to be discussed. He's going to the Netherlands, so stand by, and I'm sure Brian Kilmeade will have more on that information for you as the president heads over to meet with the other NATO leaders. I wonder if that Spanish MP will be there who called for Spain to get out of NATO completely because of what the president did in Iran. I don't know. Besides that, stick around. You got Annie Fry and Mark Reardon in later today. Kim and Ethan and Sue and I will see you right back here at 5 a.m. Wednesday morning. We're going to have Attorney General Andrew Bailey on for you tomorrow morning. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.